morning. Tuesday, July 29th, Joseph Bernanke is at Transcona Museum, and they've got some new stuff there, some new exhibitions. They also have walking tours if you want to get outside. They also have crafts for kids, too, to keep those hands busy. First, here's a look at your headlines. You saw it first on CTV News. Tow trucks used in a string of vehicle thefts. Now, the court documents reveal who's allegedly behind it and how the scheme worked. From Leaf Rapids to Thompson, fire crews are on the front lines of a fierce battle against wildfires. The latest efforts to keep northern Manitoba safe. And who's Beba? And why do the signs say he's terrible at fishing? This and more later this morning. I know I shouldn't have said if you want to get outside because it is a little smoky still.
But you know what I was just thinking? Can you believe it's Tuesday already?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Already.
I don't know if those words have ever been uttered. Like, that's just not a day we get excited for. And especially not today. It is smoky out there. You're right about that. We can smell it even inside the building. It's so bad. Look outside and you can see what we can't see, which is not much more than a block away. 14 degrees with north-northeast winds 7 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 91%. So yes, it is a smoky day today, and our warnings map takes us right down to that southern border. So the only exception to that is the most northern stretch, but off to the west, off to the east, all of us dealing with this heavy smoke this morning. A few clouds maybe behind that smoke. Who can even tell or differentiate between what is cloud and what is smoke? But Futurecast will show us that if it weren't for the smoke, it would be otherwise a sunny start to the day. We will perhaps see a little bit of precipitation rolling through that very southwestern corner of the province, and maybe some very scattered showers passing through parts of northern Manitoba as well. Then it would clear out, except that the smoke probably won't clear out. We're going to deal with these winds out of the north throughout the day, overnight. Still tomorrow, we're likely to see this smoke kind of hanging on. It's that friend you just can't shake, and not really a friend. We'll just call it an acquaintance at this point. The acquaintance we can't get rid of. Anyway, smoky today. It does look like there will be plenty of sunshine throughout this week and some hotter temperatures to come. We'll stall out at about 27 degrees, which is slightly above the seasonal 26.
Thank you, Terry. New details have emerged regarding a rash of vehicle thefts in Winnipeg using tow trucks. It's a story you saw first here on CTV News, and now we've obtained court documents which reveal whose authorities believe it's behind the thefts and how the scheme allegedly worked. Here's CTV's Harrison Shin with the details.
Well, it was shocking to see the van. It was completely crushed.
Transcona's TSL was wondering what happened to her van after it was stolen by a tow truck on July 15th. Now she knows.
The roof was on the floor. It looked like someone had dropped a steel beam right down the middle of it.
Court documents are now revealing who is alleged to be behind the theft of her van and 8 others, all stolen by tow truck between July 2nd until 14th. The statement of claim filed by the Director of Criminal Property Forfeiture alleges Corey Finkarik, owner of Winnipeg Auto Recycling, and employees stole vehicles, damaged them, and then sold them for scrap, bringing in $40,000. Now, his assets, including 2 tow trucks, bank accounts, and real estate, are being seized. A person answering the phone at Winnipeg Auto Recycling declined an interview and would not give their name. Winnipeg police said Wednesday 2 people were arrested in the case. Jason Schritt's truck was stolen in the same way on July 11th. His truck was also demolished.
I asked him if I could come and identify my vehicle or anything like that, and he just said it was unidentifiable because it was crushed and scrapped.
For Sawa, the question of why keep lingering.
Just the frustration, why did this happen? And the sadness, because it was an awesome van. It was our van. And I didn't think that anyone else would want it, so.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
For the second year in a row, car thefts are trending down in Canada, with industry groups crediting the relationship between federal and provincial governments and police.
It started with the provinces, Ontario and Quebec, funding for law enforcement.
In a report released on Monday, the number of cars reported stolen nationally dropped 19.1% in the first half of 2025 compared with the same period last year. A little more than 23,000 cars were reported stolen between January and June of this year. The decline is particularly large in Ontario and Quebec, which have seen drops of 25.9% and 22.2% respectively. However, experts are also cautioning people not to get complacent, and stealing cars is still a lucrative way to fund organized crime. Fire crews are still working to contain wildfires near some northern Manitoba communities. A late-night update on Monday from the town of Leaf Rapids says that sprinklers are guarding key sites like the fish plant, the communications tower, and the Churchill River Lodge. A roving fire engine is still putting out hot spots along Pump House Road, Utic Bay, and Crescent areas. The update further states that the Fire 26 had heavy helicopter bucketing operations in the area of the Comps Tower. Fire 113 was burning on both sides of Provincial Road 391. Other hot spots, no more fire activity was detected in town. Manitoba Hydro was also attempting to restore more power. An update from the city of Thompson says that Manitoba Wildfire Service teams are working on the north flank of fire closest to Thompson, and tree and brush clearing is happening along the Burntwood River. Crews will work on the southern flank in a few days when work on the north side wraps up. Elections Canada says it will be using an adapted ballot next month in the by-election where Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre hopes to win a seat. The riding has been targeted by the advocacy group The Longest Ballot Committee in a protest against our first past post system.
It prevents or makes it difficult for credible candidates to get attention. I don't think it's going to make the point that the people behind it want to.
Elections Canada has listed more than 200 confirmed candidates. Only 7 have a party affiliation. The rest are running as independents. The Conservative have held this riding since 2004, and the by-election comes after MP Damien Couric stepped aside so Poilievre could run. If you've been driving around in the Morden and Winkler area, you may have noticed some signs calling out someone named Bubba for having poor angling skills. The witty signs are a little bit different, but one thing stays the same. Nearly all say, Bubba sucks at fishing. Bubba, whose real name is Steve Peters, says that the sign started popping up a year ago, and he still has no idea who's behind it.
There's a long list of possible suspects. But I haven't been able to pinpoint it yet. The fun part about it is not knowing who it is. I think that kind of adds the mystery to the whole thing.
But he's taking it all in stride and has even turned it into a good cause. He's been using the publicity to sell Bubba Sucks at Fishing t-shirts and raising money through social media to buy fishing gear for kids. So far, he's raised enough to buy rods and tackle for 8 children. But does Bubba actually suck at fishing? He tells us he's not as bad as the signs would lead you to think. This next story deserves a hearty good dog.
50 meters on a paddleboard by a human dog pair.
Gigi and her person Matthew set a world record at the UK's Dog Surf Championship in Dorset, England, where there are good dogs too. A whippet named Margot won the overall championship, and the event itself set a world record for the number of dogs taking part in one paddleboard race, and for the most dogs ever on a giant paddleboard. Here's your first look at traffic. Kenniston and Sterling Lyon. Looks like a smooth drive. If you have tips to share, send them to us. CTV Morning, WPG on X. Joseph Bernacki joins us for the very first time from Transcona. He is at the museum. Good morning.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Manitoba. Yeah, if you're just joining us, as Ainsley mentioned, we're at the Transcona Museum today, celebrating history and, of course, the neighborhood that has so much history here within the city of Winnipeg. Again, for our viewers tuning in, it's really cool to see the history of, the actual, it used to be the city of Transcona, of course, up until 1972, when the city of Winnipeg amalgamated several neighborhoods into one, making the city, of course, larger than it was over 50 years ago. Throughout the show, we're going to be showcasing history from the different galleries here in the museum. Of course, a little bit of the rail yard history that Scott's showing. Of course, we've got Jerry and a little bit of the ventriloquist dummy history here to my left. A pretty cool little bit of history. Of course, all different sorts of artifacts here that we're going to bring you. Coming up in about half an hour's time, we're going to be speaking to the assistant curator. She's going to be joining us for a few segments this morning. Later on in the show, we're going to be heading over to Rotary Heritage Park, of course, with the train engine that's been parked on Plessis for many, many years, sharing a little bit more about that rail yard history I just mentioned briefly. So stay tuned for more from your Tuesday CTV Morning Live here in Transcona.
Thank you, Joseph. Terry on the roof for your Tuesday morning, a slip and slide, but with sand. Only in Australia, it's a sea lion spending his afternoon sliding down the sandy dune on Kangaroo Island without a care in the world. just rolling with it.
You know, I imagine that's probably like well, I was gonna say toasty and warm, but sometimes sand can get really hot. Clearly he's not that bothered by it.
He looks like a chicken breast.
Shake and bake.
Nice.
Oh, goodness.
I love it.
Throw some seasoning on there. Tasty.
How are you feeling the smoke?
It's so gross out here. Honestly, I stepped outside and I almost went straight back inside, but I didn't know if I'd have enough time to get back to the studio for this hit. I don't know how many times I'm going to come out here this morning. That's how gross it is. And then I was thinking, oh, what about my walk home? Because I haven't figured out the new bus route yet, and I don't even know what my options would be if I wasn't going to walk home. I guess I got some Googling to do. Because it's not the kind of weather that you want to be spending long periods of time outdoors in. This smoke is pretty heavy and gross as I breathe it in again. 14 degrees, that's where we're sitting right now with north-northeast winds 6 kilometers per hour, the pressure rising, and that humidity is sitting at 93%. You know, if it weren't for the smoke, what a beautiful morning. There's just a few clouds out here. I could see that the sky would be brighter behind it, but it's just got that haze of smoke out here. This slight bit of a breeze, these morning temperatures pleasant, and where we're headed today will top us out at about 24 degrees, so not a hot day. But again, because it is going to get hotter later on this week, we would really love to enjoy these days where we're just kind of going to top out in those low to mid 20s. But the smoke is going to mean that we're not enjoying them outdoors anyway. You'll find some fun activities to keep you busy indoors, but outdoors is not the kind of place you want to be. And this smoke warning is pretty much across the entire province today. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Good morning, it's 6:15. The province is warning of a handful of potential measles exposures, this time in Winnipeg. They all happened July 21st, which was last Monday. The Child and Family Services office on Jarvis Avenue was one of the spots. Between 10:45 a.m. and 1:30 p.m., La Grota Mediterranean Market on Taylor Avenue from 11:30 a.m. to 1:45 p.m. was another. West Coast Kids on Kenniston Boulevard from 11:55 a.m. to 2:25 p.m. and HomeSense on Kenniston from 12:30 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. Anyone who was in those locations during those times is advised to make sure that they're up to date with their measles vaccine and to monitor for symptoms for about 3 weeks. The cost to cross the Confederation Bridge goes down to $20 on Friday.
28 years, Islanders have paid hundreds of millions of dollars to cross that bridge.
Ottawa says that the move will save millions of dollars for people and businesses using only road connection between New Brunswick and PEI. Right now, it costs a little more than $50 to use the bridge. Ottawa also announced ferry fares in Atlantic Canada will be reduced by half. While the price is being welcomed in Atlantic Canada, BC's Premier is wondering why people across the country need help to pay the bill.
To watch the federal government show up on the East Coast and subsidize ferry users that already get a $300 subsidy per each $1 that a BC ferry user gets.
Reducing the Confederation Bridge toll and ferry rates was a Liberal campaign promise from the last election. We are just days away from a trade deadline, and the Prime Minister says negotiations with the U.S. have reached an intense phase. The European Union securing an agreement over the weekend. Mark Carney believes Canada's trade situation is different. Still, he admitted that a deal with no tariffs is unlikely. CTV's Abigail Beeman with who is offering advice now.
Canada's Prime Minister and the American President were both visiting islands and talking trade. Donald Trump in Scotland musing about baseline world tariffs.
I would say in the range of 15 to 20%.
The negotiations are at a intense phase. It's a complex negotiation.
While on Prince Edward Island, Mark Carney said Canada's trade position with the U.S. is similar in some ways to the EU's, but also different. Namely, the U.S. needs to buy energy from Canada rather than sell it.
There is a landing zone that's possible, but we have to get there.
Speaking in Saskatoon, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper said the Carney government recently asked him for advice.
We've got to kind of get something short-term worked out with the Trump administration, but this really is a wake-up call for this country to truly diversify its trade export markets.
One of Harper's foreign affairs ministers feels Canada may not get the kind of U.S. deal we want.
Donald Trump has really had his way with many countries, and they are coming to heel and rolling around like kittens on a couch.
Ontario's premier still hopes Canada is treated differently.
A tariff on Canadians is a tax on Americans. Prices will go up.
It's not the kind of recession-inducing shock that 25% on literally everything would have been.
This University of Calgary economist says a 15% baseline tariff on non-CUSMA compliant goods would still be a net negative for the Canadian economy. But it's important to focus on the bigger picture, what happens with CUSMA down the line.
That's a much more important potential shock to the economy.
Trump's trade deal deadline is Friday, with the Prime Minister saying Canada is still engaged in negotiations. Mark Carney stressing Canada is also already a big investor in the United States as we watch other countries accept deals requiring big financial commitments.
Canada is adding $30 million in humanitarian funding in Gaza while also pushing for a two-state solution at the UN.
We are here today because this moment demands political courage and resolve. And we must stand together and choose a different path, one that leads toward a sustainable and a just solution.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand also announcing $10 million to help the Palestinian Authority reform itself for eventual statehood. It comes as a number of Liberal MPs make calls to the Prime Minister to recognize a Palestinian state for members of his own party. Canada hasn't joined France in announcing plans to recognize the Palestinian state. Instead, they're saying the Palestinian Authority must undertake the comprehensive reforms necessary to govern Gaza and the West Bank. A terrifying moment in Spain where a fighter jet looked like it may crash into a crowd of people watching an air show. A social media video shows the Spanish Air Force EF-18 Hornet hurtling towards the packed beach before the pilot appeared to regain control and steer clear of the beachgoers. The Spanish Air Force says that the pilot performed an evasive maneuver to avoid a flock of birds in the jet's path. Once an air cadet, always an air cadet.
These people went through here over the years. You know them all.
Generations of air cadets came together for a reunion at Cape Breton over the weekend. Most of them met as teens, and their friendships are strong as ever as some of them enter their 80s. The 587 Air Cadet reunion happens every other year. Organizers are already looking ahead to 2027. Here's a live look at the St. James Bridge. Traffic volumes pretty slow at this hour. If you spot any troubles, let us know. CTV Morning WPG.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
All right, smoke is all we're seeing as we look now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Yeah, that smoke is pretty unbearable this morning, I'll say that. I may not be going out as much as I typically would over the morning, and normally my rooftop hits are honestly some of my favorite, but it is too gross to even be out there for a few minutes at a time. 14 degrees, temperature-wise, our conditions are so ideal. We've got some sunshine out there, 14, light breeze, and then, yes, of course, all of that smoke. We are seeing similar temperatures throughout southern Manitoba, with 13 degrees being a normal low. That's where Portage and Gimli are sitting. Most places are just on either side of that right now. A little bit cooler here through west central Manitoba. We've got Dauphin at 9, Swan River at 6, and even cooler yet, Thompson beginning the day at 4 degrees. The heavy smoke is pretty much through the entire province with the exception of the most northern stretch. There's the advisory, that's the yellow, that's just off to the east of us. But for the most part, most of us are just under that heavy smoke. And there you can see not a lot of cloud right now. There is the possibility of some passing precipitation in areas just through the southwest. But aside from that, it will be a pretty Beautiful day if it weren't for the smoke. Where our temperatures are stopping, low 20s by midday, and then just getting up into those almost mid-20s. Around 24 degrees is our expected high in Winnipeg today and tomorrow as well, although we're probably still going to deal with that smoke. It will get a little bit warmer through the latter part of the week as we cling to 27 through the weekend. A beautiful shot of that sun setting the other night. Thanks to Brenda for this photo. Keep them coming to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca. We're taking a break, but we'll be back.
Good morning. Most online shopping orders get shipped to our homes without any problems. But if you do buy something that has been tampered with, it can be difficult to try and get your money back. CTV's Pat Foran shares the story of a photographer who ordered a camera lens but ended up with a box of staples.
I was completely shocked. I didn't know what to do.
Victoria Schell of Maple says her hobby is photography and she recently wanted to upgrade to a more advanced camera lens. She found one online at Canon Canada's website. The lens was part of a damaged box sale and was selling for just over $2,500. When the shipment arrived, she was shocked when she opened it up.
The box was supposed to contain a Canon EF 24-70mm lens, and instead there was a box of Bostitch staples.
Schell contacted Canon to say what happened and sent them photos of what she received.
The lens was inspected in the facility, so by the time it left the facility, everything was intact.
Schell says while the outside box was sealed, the box for the camera lens had been opened.
There is no safety seal.
The box of staples was the same weight as what the camera lens would be. Following an investigation, Schell was told she would not be getting a refund.
I'm completely heartbroken. I'm really upset.
2 years ago, we did a similar story with the Madkin family of Brampton. They ordered a laptop and received 2 books instead.
Did you need this book?
I don't need that.
Did you need 2 of them?
No, I don't need either. So someone have opened the box and they put the books with the same weight, looks like a MacBook.
With CTV's help, the family got a refund. CTV News also reached out to Canon Canada, and a spokesperson said the package did match the weight that would be expected for the lens model purchased. However, it appears the package may have been tampered with after departing our facility. We are currently in the process of issuing a refund to the customer for the cost of the lens. That was great news for Schell. She has now received her refund and plans to buy a new lens in person at a camera store.
Thank you so much, CTV News. Thank you so much, Pat Foran. Thank you guys for taking my case. I truly appreciate it. You guys are amazing.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
It's that time of year again, and CTV and Chicken Chef want you to know, we want to know rather, how are you soaking up the Manitoba sunshine? Whether you're roasting marshmallows under the stars or dancing at your favorite festival, we want to see the special moments that make your summer shine. Upload a photo of your summer fun for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize. You'll also be in the running for daily draws and tasty surprises from Chicken Chef. Plus, you could win one of 4 $250 gift cards from Wine Sense. So snap that perfect shot and share your summer with us today. Coming up at 6:38, Joseph Bernanke's at the Transcona Museum. Older artifacts, but lots of new stuff to see. Stay with us.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
It's smoky outside this morning, 14 degrees right now. That's a pretty seasonal start to the day, and the winds are on the lighter side, but they are out of the north-northeast, and that's what's drawn all of that smoke in now. Pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 93%, and that smoke not likely leaving, and most of the province is dealing with it today. North, central, southern Manitoba, unless you're right up along that most northern border, you're dealing with the smoke. Some places might see some slight improvements. There's the possibility of a bit of shower activity kind of passing through parts of southwestern Manitoba. And there's a couple places in the north, more so the northeast, that may see some brief passing showers. But other than that, what would otherwise be a mix of sun and cloud or partly sunny conditions will instead just be smoky today. 24 degrees, that's where we're headed as far as temperatures go. Northwest winds, well, they're out of the northeast this morning, but they'll shift out of the northwest, not bringing much improvement. Staying on the lighter side throughout the day today. Still overnight out of the northwest, we'll have fairly clear conditions, no clouds, but the smoke will still be an issue. Dropping down to 11 degrees, and then tomorrow, 23 expected, mainly sunny, but smoky once again, and those north winds winds lingering. The smoke might linger until we get a shift in these winds, but the temperatures will start to rise a little bit more so, starting out in the low to mid 20s, but ending up in the mid to high 20s as we look through the rest of the week and throughout the coming weekend.
Thank you, Terry. A 31-year-old woman is charged in the stabbing death of a woman in northern Manitoba. Thompson RCMP were called to a home last Thursday in the early morning. When they arrived, emergency medical services were treating an unresponsive female with a stab wound. The 34-year-old was declared dead at the scene. A 31-year-old woman is now charged with manslaughter. Mounties continue to investigate. A Brandon man has been arrested and sent to Saskatchewan to face child pornography charges. Estevan police began investigating a complaint earlier this year, which ultimately led officers from Manitoba and Saskatchewan to search a home in Brandon. A 20-year-old man was arrested and turned over to authorities in Saskatchewan on July 24th. He was released from custody in Estevan on Monday with conditions. He's charged with creating child pornography, extortion, and uttering threats. Premier Wab Kinew had called a by-election on Friday, which will test whether his NDP government's popularity can spread to a long-time PC stronghold. Voters in the Spruce Woods constituency will go to the polls on August 26th. Tories normally secure well above 60% of the vote in the area, but the New Democrats have been riding high in opinion polls and have made a series of spending announcements in and around Spruce Woods recently. The outcome won't affect the NDP majority in the legislature, where the party has 34 of the 57 seats to the Tories' 20. It's another day of air quality warnings affecting much of Manitoba and northwestern Ontario. Smoke from wildfires is causing poor air quality and reduced visibility across our province. Most regions, including Winnipeg, Brandon, and as far north as Flin Flon, are all expecting air quality readings in 10 plus or very high risk category today. Those conditions are expected to persist through tonight and into Wednesday. Everyone is advised to limit time spent outdoors and to cancel or reschedule outdoor sports activities and events. A religious monument has been reinstalled in Assiniboine Park. After an 8-year hiatus, the large stone engraved with the 10 Commandments is back on display for visitors at the park. And as CTV's Danton Unger reports, the decision comes after nearly a year of debate as to whether or not the park was the right move for it.
A biblical monument back in Assiniboine Park. These 10 Commandments have been at the center of some debate as Assiniboine Park Conservancy grappled over what to do with this religious monument. It was gifted to the city by the Fraternal Order of Eagles in 1965 and stood here in the park for more than 50 years. But when the Leaf was being constructed in 2017, the park put the monument in storage and last year asked the city to find a new home for it, saying at the time the Conservancy felt it could make the park feel less welcoming for some members in the community. This prompted some debate at the time amongst Winnipeggers and visitors to the park.
I think that's right. It wouldn't be as welcoming, no.
Well, I think if it's part of the history of the park, why not?
It's not offending anybody. Then put it up.
On Monday, a park spokesperson confirmed the monument had been reinstalled close to its original location, telling CTV News over the past year, working with the CAO's office, Assiniboine Park Conservancy consulted with stakeholders regarding future placement of the monument and ultimately agreed to reinstall it in the park. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham says he's pleased with how it all turned out.
Basically, as a council, we directed our administration, our CAO, to work with the Assiniboine Park Conservancy and community members. They have done that, so they followed the process that council set out for them. So I'm pleased with that.
Park visitor Derek Anand says he's not bothered by the monument's return.
Basically, it doesn't have to be so tied to religion. I think it's something that is universal that everyone can relate to.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he's setting a new deadline for Russia to make progress towards ending the war with Ukraine.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today.
Trump is threatening to impose secondary sanctions if no progress towards peace is made. A local eatery is among the most desirable restaurants located in a Canadian hotel.
It was a very surprise honor.
Fort Garry Hotel's Oval Room Brasserie made Open Table and Kayak's top 50 hotel restaurants list. Dinner reviews noted that the brasserie's ambiance, dishes, and service for its high reviews. The Oval Room is the only Manitoba restaurant on the list, which also includes dining options in Ontario, BC, Quebec, and the Maritimes.
A restaurant business and a hotel business is about a team, and it just shows that our team is doing a really good job.
Hotel owner Ida Albo says that most of the customers are actually local, coming in also noted by Open Table, which found that 61% of the hotel restaurant diners are local residents. And this isn't the only award that the hotel's restaurants won this month. Ida received a Wine Spectator Award of Excellence, one of only 17 in Canada. Taking a look at the current traffic situation along the Norwood Bridge. No traffic tips, stalls, or crashes that we're aware of right now. Taking a look at your gas prices, the Canadian average stands at $1.35, while the provincial average is lower, $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is at $1.29. The lowest price in the city, $1.19. All this info available to you at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
There is history all over this city wherever you look for it. Transcona Museum is an awesome place to explore. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Manitoba. If you're just joining us, very pleased to be joined by Jennifer Maxwell. She's the assistant curator here at the Transcona Museum. She's going to be joining us for a couple of segments. Pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah. So for our viewers tuning in, Jennifer, I find it fascinating, of course, how Winnipeg used to be a collection of different neighborhoods that amalgamated in 1972. Transcona had many years of its own history. Talk to us a little bit about what you guys have on display, this new display, and what we're looking at.
Yes, so initially we were the town of Transcona, and then in 1961 we became the city of Transcona. So in this display case here, we have the city proclamation. We also have it paired with the mayoral chain of office and some other photographs of the last mayor and council of Transcona before we amalgamated.
It's awesome you guys are able to hang on to all these different artifacts. What's your favorite on display in this cabinet, would you say?
Oh, it'd have to be the mayoral chain of office because it has the names of all the different mayors throughout our history.
That's very cool. And over to the left, there's a couple of really neat black and white photos. I love the photo of the two children and the dog, of course. Talk to us a little bit about the Regent Avenue one below and the one up above that Scott's showing.
Yes, so the one at the top, that's two little girls and their dog watching the building of the Transcona Library that was located here on Victoria Avenue. Then the one below it is a fun view of 1960s Transcona in the downtown, and our building is there, but we were the Transcona Municipal Office at the time.
And there's a good snapshot of Regent Avenue, and then behind is a really cool connection with the old Blostein's department store and Tip Top Tailors. Talk to me a little bit about what we're looking at. There's lots to see.
So Blostein's was a department store just 2 doors down here in the community, and it's where you go for almost anything in the community, and he was licensed as a Tip Top Tailors dealer. He also sold hats and menswear, so the two hats on display are from Blostein's, and they were brought to us over the years from people who have been keeping an eye out for Transcona history for us.
That's really cool, yeah. So Jennifer's going to be joining us later on in the show. One of those hats actually was donated by one of her colleagues from Edmonton, which was a really neat connection. We'll be back in the 7 o'clock hour with more from the Transcona Museum.
Joseph, thanks so much. Terry, outside the theme seems to be the smoke in the air.
It's so gross.
Yeah.
So I would typically be outside this time in the morning, and I'm not. And I love being outside. Honestly, my rooftop hits are some of my favorite, but that's indicative of just how bad and how heavy that smoke is. Visibility down to about 5 kilometers. Oh, and we've got a bug joining us on our camera this morning. Okay, so this will be a little entertaining. It's just behind that timestamp there, or our current conditions, if you will, which are 14 degrees, north-northeast wind, 6 clicks, the pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 93%. Oh, I thought we were going to see the bug. Okay, anyway, maybe next time. We're just dealing with the smoke, and this warnings map, honestly, it's old, isn't it? Like, I feel like I wish I had some other graphic to show you, but we can't not talk about the smoke because it is one of the most prevalent and the most annoying things about today, easily. Aside from the smoke, the conditions would be pretty ideal. There might be a little bit of shower activity moving through southwestern Manitoba for later today, right through that corner, and then maybe the possibility of some scattered showers across parts of the north. But we would be enjoying sunshine if it weren't for the smoke, and some pretty nice nice temperatures too. The winds are light, but they're out of the northeast, and then we'll shift out of the northwest for later today. Still with those north winds overnight and through tomorrow as well. So we're still likely to deal with that smoke for another couple of days. Low to mid 20s and then high 20s, or mid to high 20s, I guess, as we continue through the rest of the week and into the weekend itself. Taking a break. We'll see you soon.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
Looking at the early markets, it's a green start to this Tuesday morning on Wall Street. Dow futures are up 18 points. Nasdaq futures are seeing the biggest boost so far, climbing 110 points. S&P futures have also ticked up, gaining 17 points. The Canadian dollar is showing a slight increase this morning. Overseas, Hang Seng has slipped by 37 points, and the Japan's Nikkei is also down, dropping by 323 points. Good morning. If your commute includes the Louise Bridge, prepare to use alternative routes for a while longer. The bridge was closed to traffic in May for annual repairs and was supposed to reopen at the end of this month. Now the city is extending the shutdown for the 114-year-old bridge into early September. CTV's Jeff Keel explains.
Auto Approved is open for business, unlike the Louise Bridge around the corner.
We get a lot of customers driving over Louise Bridge from downtown and going back to downtown.
Owner Andrew Snow estimates he's selling 5 to 6 fewer vehicles per month because of the disruption.
The impulse shopper driving by, sees the cars, want to have a look, but now you don't have the traffic going by.
In late May, the 114-year-old bridge was closed for annual maintenance. The work was set to be done by the end of July, but now it won't reopen until early September.
Another month of less business, so it does impact us.
The city says as it was completing corrosion repairs, they discovered 2 additional areas that required attention.
It took some additional time for us to complete the design and retain a contractor to perform the repairs.
Winnipeg has another century-plus-old bridge that's closed, Arlington, but that one shut down permanently in 2023 for structural issues after years of patch jobs. The city is confident the same thing won't happen at Louise before a $40 million upgrade gets going in 2029.
Nothing that we've identified so far has indicated that there would need to be an extended closure until the rehabilitation can be completed.
We want to prevent the Louise Bridge from turning into an Arlington Street Bridge, and that's why we closed it to do the repair work necessary.
And while that repair work is being done on the Louise Bridge, the mayor is thanking drivers for their patience. Some have less than others.
We're traveling all over the place just to get somewhere.
They should have just changed it already. Got a new one.
Doesn't affect me that much, actually. I usually just head this way.
I don't go that way, so I don't really care.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The bridge remains open for pedestrians and cyclists. The city says that drivers can take alternate routes like the Disraeli Bridge or the Provencher Bridge. Drivers are also being encouraged to give themselves more travel time. It's the next step towards building a new affordable housing units in Winnipeg. On Monday, the city announced the development of 5 properties on city-owned land. The housing projects are slated for Taché Avenue, Osborne Street, Pembina Highway, and 2 on Watt Street.
Housing is one of the most urgent challenges facing our city.
Taché Avenue will see the development of a 65-unit apartment building with on-site disability support services. The block will offer support for up to 20 people with physical disabilities. The organization leading the development says that the project will help adults with disabilities who don't meet the criteria for provincial services.
We started to dream about building such a place. An intentional, accessible, affordable, and inclusive living environment where people with physical disabilities could create natural and meaningful connections that would alleviate loneliness and isolation and support their overall well-being.
The developments will create almost 700 new units. More than 270 will be for affordable units. Construction will start within 1 year. 4 people, including a police officer, are dead after a shooting in New York.
4 years on the job. Officer Islam was married with 2 young boys. His wife is pregnant with their 3rd child.
Police say that the attacker walked into the lobby of an office building on Park Avenue and then opened fire. He then went up to the 33rd floor and opened fire again. The police officer killed was working security at the time. The other 3 victims have not been named. Businesses like Blackstone, KPMG, and the NFL have offices in that building. The alleged attacker said that to have driven to New York from Las Vegas. Police say he has known mental health issues and they're still working on a motive. Canada is adding $30 million in humanitarian funding in Gaza while also pushing for a two-state solution at the UN.
We are here today because this moment demands political courage and resolve. And we must stand together and choose a different path, one that leads toward a sustainable and a just solution.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand also announcing $10 million to help the Palestinian Authority reform itself for eventual statehood. This comes as a number of Liberal MPs make calls to the Prime Minister to recognize a Palestinian state for members of his own party. Canada hasn't joined France in announcing plans to recognize a Palestinian state. Instead, they're saying the Palestinian Authority must undertake the comprehensive reforms necessary to govern Gaza and the West Bank. Taking a look at the current traffic situation around Osborne Street, looks like a smooth drive. If you have any traffic tips or updates, send them to us. CTV Morning WPG on our X page.
All right. Oh, there's Bud. He's back again. 14 degrees with the north-northeast wind, 6 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 93%. I wonder if he's shy. He keeps going into the back same corner. The corner that has the coverage. Anyway, smoke, that's the coverage that we have over most of the province today. The exception is the most northern part where the air quality is a little bit better. But for most of us, this heavy smoke will be an issue maybe for the next couple of days. We're not seeing any changes in the wind direction over the next couple. There's just a few clouds out there. It's not the clouds, though. It's really the smoke. And around the province, many of us will be noticing that. There is the possibility of a few scattered showers. Some places might see that Thompson Island Lake into the clearer zone. You'll enjoy some sunshine and mid to high teens. Places like Churchill, Gillam, pleasant for you. Lynn Lake, maybe a bit of shower activity, mostly just the smoke, and that goes for parts of north, central, and even into the south. Now, southwestern Manitoba might find a little bit of relief. The possibility of some precipitation to roll through, and maybe even places like Portage or the Morden-Winkler area could see some of those showers as they roll through the southwest. Here in the southeast, it's just going to be a smoky day for us, and not quite as bad, not under the warning, but under a smoke advisory. Northwestern Ontario might have slightly better conditions. Also, those low to mid 20 temperatures expected. So today and tomorrow, 24 degrees, probably still with the smoke, and then the temperature comes up another couple degrees. Dry conditions expected throughout the rest of this week and weekend.
Thank you, Terry. It was created as a safe space for women to spill tea on bad experiences. But now an app aimed at making dating safer has become the target of hackers. ABC's Rhiannon Ali has the story and expert tips on how you can stay safe while dating.
I'm looking for Mark. You must be his housekeeper.
No, I'm his wife, Kate. It's the nightmare scenario for single women everywhere. You think you found Mr. Right, but he's not who he claims to be. But these days, more and more women have been turning to the internet for help or for the tea, like these women posting on TikTok.
I know I'm not the only one who's been scrolling on that T app. But what really makes this app interesting is when other people start corroborating the stories that are being shared on the app.
T is a popular women-only app that says they allow users to anonymously share information about the men they are dating or looking to date. According to their website, the app lets women raise potential red flags or green flags they might not be aware of, such as marital status, abusive behavior, and criminal records.
You're a little worried about, going out with a complete and total stranger. Using a site like T to search their name to see if there's anything been written up about them could be very powerful.
But the app, initially aimed at protecting and helping women navigate the dating scene, recently became a victim itself. On Friday, the app says hackers gained access to thousands of images on the site, including ID cards and selfies. The company telling ABC News T detected a security incident. In response, we immediately took steps to contain the incident and launched a full investigation with assistance from external cybersecurity firms. T is not the first of its kind. The Facebook group Are We Dating the Same Guy has also been used by women to expose deceitful dates. And while dating experts say these sites can provide some valuable intel for swiping singles, they shouldn't always be taken at face value.
It's not a place for people just to vent about guys that no longer want to date with them. Really, you should use it only for a place to warn other women.
Rhiannon Ali, ABC News, New York.
Their names are Nibs and Lollipop, and they are incredibly talented. Here's ABC's Danny New.
This is Nibs. And this is Lollipop. Besides being extremely talented and cute, what else do they have in common? They both are members of the Ultimates.
Do you think anyone on the planet wakes up happier than you?
I don't think so, man. Look, my coworkers are amazing.
Melissa Millett here and her Ultimates, as she calls them, travel around Ontario, Canada every weekend to perform tricks they've mastered together. A trainer of 25 years, Melissa now has 9 dogs and 5 cats, with many of them making their way over to Hollywood.
I've got to fly back to London. I need you to take care of my cat.
I like cats.
I like dogs.
For example, later this month, her cat, Tonic, will be appearing in the movie Caught Stealing, starring the man you may remember as Elvis, Austin Butler.
He just petting your cat?
He did. Yeah, he was a phenomenal cat trainer.
Meanwhile, Lollipop and her best friend, Sashimi, have the Guinness World Record for the fastest 5-meter dog-cat scooter ride. As I found out, balance is actually just Lollipop's thing.
Hi, Lollipop.
That's what she does nonstop.
But here's one thing that might surprise you even more. Lollipop is actually deaf, as is the first dog you met, Nibs. However, here is why Melissa says that is not the biggest obstacle when training your dog.
The truth is that dogs don't speak English and they have a harder time responding to verbal cues. Hand signals are easier.
Actually, not only are 4 of the Ultimates deaf, but in fact, almost all of them are rescue animals. Like her dog Pepsi, who starred as Crypto the Super Dog in the show Titans. Pepsi was found abandoned in a snowy woodpile at 5 months old, and championing rescue animals like him has become a mission for Melissa.
In my position, it's really important it showcases the wonderful animals that you can find.
As a cat, that I did ask Melissa how she could possibly train cats, and then I tried her lesson on my cat Pepper. Basically, it's all about rewarding your cat for following a treat. I tried it with my finger. The only problem, she did not want the reward. No pets for Pepper. She said, no touchy, Dad. For next time, we try it again. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
We're going to start your Tuesday off right with some more news, weather, and traffic coming up. Stay with us. And happy Tuesday. Do you like spending time in your backyard? Well, the Nature Conservancy of Canada is putting on the Big Backyard Bio Blitz. Yeah, that's some alliteration, and it's a little bit of a science project. You don't have to be a scientist to take part. We'll tell you all about it at 7:52. Let's have a look at our headlines first. Tow truck theft. Rising exposed court documents reveal how a Winnipeg recycling owner is allegedly tied to vehicle heists. Plus, trade deadline nears. Can Canada strike a deal before steep U.S. tariffs take effect this Friday? And Danish I do's. Why couples are ditching Vegas to get hitched in Copenhagen. Well, outside, Terry, it hasn't felt the best. You haven't actually been on the roof every single time.
No, I went up there just after 6 o'clock. I'll try again maybe in 10 minutes time just to see if it's improved. It doesn't look like it's improved though, does it? 14 degrees, north-northeast wind, 6 clicks. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 93%. I don't think I need to go up in 10 minutes time, clearly by that view. We've not seen that improvement. The heavy smoke, it's throughout the province, right up into parts of the north. The very most northern stretch is the only place that is not included in this heavy smoke warning, and off to the east, the yellow that is just a slightly downgraded advisory. But still, you're going to be dealing with some haze, maybe, as opposed to full out smoke as we are. If it weren't for the smoke, it would be a beautiful day. There is a possibility of some shower activity to start out in the southwestern part of the province, and some parts of northern Manitoba may also see some brief scattered patchy showers moving through. We're not likely to see that here in Winnipeg today. Partly sunny conditions, smoky, yes, and a high of 24 degrees. We'll deal with winds starting out of the northeast. They'll shift out of the northwest for later on into the afternoon, and then that northwest wind remains in place overnight. The sky itself will clear of the clouds, probably not the smoke. 11 degrees is where we'll drop to overnight. Tomorrow, a day very similar to today, probably still with the smoky conditions lingering. Maybe a little more sunshine, but who can even tell with all that heavy smoke. 24 degrees expected once again, and then it gets even warmer yet. So 27 through the latter part of the week and all throughout the weekend, maybe even into the start of next week with sunny, dry conditions expected. And our art today is thank you to Avery, 10 years old. How pretty is this? Yes, if the smoke is going to keep you indoors, why not make some art for us? We'd love to see what you're up to, so draw, color, paint. Email us that art to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks very much, Terry. Fire crews are still working to contain wildfires near some northern Manitoba communities. A late-night update on Monday from the town of Leaf Rapids says that sprinklers are guarding key sites like the fish plant, the communications tower, and the Churchill River Lodge. A roving fire engine is still putting out hotspots along Pump House Road, Utic Bay, and Crescent areas. The update further states that the Fire 26 had heavy helicopter bucketing operations in the area of the comms tower. Fire 113 was burning on both sides of Provincial Road 391. Other than hotspots, no more fire activity was detected in town. Manitoba Hydro was also attempting to restore more power. An update from the city of Thompson says that Manitoba Wildfire Service teams are working on the north flank of fire closest to Thompson, and tree and brush clearing is happening along the Burntwood River. Crews will work on the southern flank in a few days when work on the north side wraps up. Meantime, Canada Post says that people from Island Lake, Leaf Rapids, and Snow Lake can pick up their mail in Winnipeg at the post office on Graham Avenue. Mail for Flynn Lake residents is available at the office in Brandon on Douglas Street, and the Puckatawagan can fill their mail in the post office in the Paw on Fisher Avenue. Also, Canada Post is extending its free mail forwarding service to residents of Island Lake and Snow Lake. You can have until August 28th to register. An 18-year-old Winnipeg woman faces several charges after a significant drug seizure at the Calgary International Airport. It happened last month while Canada Border Services agents were inspecting luggage and came across a questionable piece of baggage destined for Japan. They found 30 kilograms of meth inside. Marianne Lee faces charges of drug possession and trafficking. New details have emerged regarding a rash of vehicle thefts in Winnipeg using tow trucks. It's a story you saw first here on CTV News. And now we've obtained court documents which reveal who authorities believe is behind the thefts and how the scheme allegedly worked. Here's CTV's Harrison Shin with the details.
Well, it was shocking to see the van. It was completely crushed.
Transcona's TSL was wondering what happened to her van after it was stolen by a tow truck on July 15th. Now she knows.
The roof was on the floor. It looked like someone had dropped a steel beam right down the middle of it.
Court documents are now revealing who is alleged to be behind the theft of her van and 8 others, all stolen by tow truck between July 2nd until 14th. The statement of claim filed by the Director of Criminal Property Forfeiture alleges Corey Finkarik, owner of Winnipeg Auto Recycling, and employees stole vehicles, damaged them, and then sold them for scrap, bringing in $40,000. Now, his assets, including 2 tow trucks, bank accounts, and real estate, are being seized. A person answering the phone at Winnipeg Auto Recycling declined an interview and would not give their name. Winnipeg police said Wednesday 2 people were arrested in the case. Jason Schritt's truck was stolen in the same way on July 11th. His truck was also demolished.
I asked him if I could come and identify my vehicle or anything like that, and he just said it was unidentifiable because it was crushed and scrapped.
For Sawa, the question of why keep lingering.
Just the frustration, why did this happen? And the sadness, because it was an awesome van. It was our van. And I didn't think that anyone else would want it, so.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winnipeg.
For the second year in a row, car thefts are trending down in Canada, with industry groups crediting the relationship between federal and provincial governments and police.
It started with the provinces, Ontario and Quebec, funding for law enforcement.
In a report released on Monday, the number of cars reported stolen nationally dropped 19.1% in the first half of 2025, compared with the same period last year. A little more than 23,000 cars were reported stolen between January and June of this year. The decline is particularly large in Ontario and Quebec, which have seen drops of 25.9% and 22.2% respectively. However, experts are also cautioning people not to get complacent, as stealing cars is still a lucrative way to fund organized crime. With the U.S. tariff deadline a few days away, Prime Minister Mark Carney says talks have hit an intense phase.
The United States and Canada can do many good things together. We have done that in the past. We can do more in the future, but on fair terms for our country.
The U.S. is set to hit Canada with a 35% tariff on non-CUSMA compliant goods on Friday. Prime Minister Carney called the talks complex and repeated his goal to sign only the right deal for Canadians. He also said Canada's deal with the U.S. won't necessarily look like the ones signed by other countries. As talks continue, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper says that Ottawa recently reached out to him for some advice.
We've got to kind of get something short-term worked out with the Trump administration, but this really is a wake-up call for this country to truly diversify its trade export markets.
Appearing at a conference in Saskatoon, former Prime Minister Harper also said that Canada should no longer rely on the U.S. for security. Eugenie Bouchard is not done yet.
It. Would you believe
Bouchard needed 3 sets to beat Colombia's Emiliana Arango in the first round of the National Bank Open. The win also happens to be Bouchard's 300th singles victory. Bouchard announced her retirement before the tournament, saying that she wants to end her tennis career at home in Montreal. She takes on Melinda Bencic tomorrow. Forget Las Vegas. Did you know that the hottest new wedding destination location is in Denmark? Apparently, couples from around the world are flocking to Copenhagen City to tie the knot. The reason: Denmark has comparatively simple and quick marriage laws. And for some couples, it's cheaper and easier to fly there to get married than it is to wade through the complex bureaucracy at home. The head of the marriage office in Copenhagen City Hall says that last year, of the 8,000 weddings they performed, about 5,400 were international couples, a number that's been increasing in recent years. In case you're wedding planning now, it costs about $500 Canadian for a license, and you can get a marriage certificate in 5 days. Taking a look at the traffic camera here, Portage Avenue slowed at this hour for some reason, 7:09, as we take you into your Tuesday. Joseph Bernacki joins us from the Transcona Museum, showing us old and the new. Good morning, Joseph.
Good morning, Ainsley, and good morning, Winnipeg. Yeah, we're having a great time so far at the Transcona Museum. So much to see in a really cool old building. Of course, this building many, many years ago used to be a Bank of Toronto. Then it was the Transcona Municipal Building. This is part of their main gallery here in the exhibit that Scott is showing behind me. Some really neat Second World War history behind me. And coming up throughout the 7 o'clock hour, we're going to be talking about some of the fun activities for families and kids to do. They have what's called Sketch Saturdays, so we're showing a little bit of the sketchbooks there. You can sketch some of the different artifacts they'll bring out of storage to put on display, and they'll be able to hang it up on the wall, the green wall over to my right. They have Kids Quest, which is a really neat scavenger hunt we're going to be talking about a little bit more. At 7:42, we're going to be hopefully heading outside to talk a little bit about the beautiful murals in the neighborhood, part of the community walking tours that take place on Thursday mornings and Thursday afternoons. So in a couple days, you'll be able to do that if you haven't done that before here in the neighborhood. So much more to come here from the Transcona Museum. Stay tuned for your Tuesday CTV Morning Live.
Thank you, Joseph. Maybe by Thursday it might have lessened in the smoke department.
Honestly, we could hope. I don't think it's going to happen today, and perhaps not overnight and through tomorrow as well, although these conditions to think of having to deal with for the next couple of days, pretty depressing, to be honest. It is down to about 5 kilometers visibility due to that heavy smoke, and we're sitting at number 8 on the smoke scale currently. 14 degrees, northeast winds are 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 89%. Yes, the smoke map has been purple for, so much of the season. We're not always included in it here in the southern part of the province, but yesterday afternoon that smoke moved in, and then here we are. Now, under that heavy smoke warning throughout most of the province, the exception is the most northern stretch off to the east of us. That yellow is only a slightly downgraded version of this, so you are also dealing with probably hazy conditions as opposed to the full-out smoke. Let's see if this is going to advance. Here's the thing. At least when I go to the rooftop, I don't have to deal with my clicker. Oh my goodness, this is something else, isn't it? Oh, now it's moving. Okay, anyway, so here's a look at what we can expect throughout the day today. Behind the smoke, mix of sun and cloud, maybe a bit of shower activity to move through parts of southern Manitoba. Never mind this. Okay. So look, some rain moving through that southwestern corner of the province. Otherwise fairly clear conditions. Smoky conditions though, yes, and that smoke is going to keep a lot of us indoors perhaps for the next couple of days. The conditions wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the smoke. Sunshine, low to mid 20s, mid to high 20s as we're looking through the latter part of the week.
CTV Morning Live Weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Terry's the best. Okay, it's time to check in with our question of the day. Joseph's endeavors today at the Transcona Museum inspired it. What's your favorite museum to visit in Manitoba and why? By the way, our question of the day has moved from Twitter, so now we want you to text your answer with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. Also at CTV Morning Live, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, and whether they're furry, feathered, or scaly, your Pet of the Week submissions have been amazing. We want to see even more of them, please. So whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca. Catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is the Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. A smoky start to your Tuesday morning. Here's the Provence Bridge to show you that. We've got more news, weather, and traffic coming up. Morning at 7:15. The province is warning of a handful of potential measles exposures, this time in Winnipeg. And they all happened on July 21st, which was last Monday. The Child and Family Services office on Jarvis Avenue was one of the spots. Between 10:45 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. La Grota Mediterranean Market on Taylor Avenue from 11:30 a.m. to 1:45 p.m. was another. West Coast Kids on Kenniston Boulevard from 11:55 a.m. to 2:25 p.m. and HomeSense on Kenniston from 10:30 p.m. to 3:15 p.m. Anyone who was in those locations during those times is advised to make sure that they're up to date on their measles vaccine and monitor for symptoms for about 3 weeks. The Canada Border Services Agency says a Winnipegger was arrested and charged last month following a significant drug seizure at the Calgary airport. CBSA officers found 30 kilograms of meth inside a bag destined for Japan. The bag's owner has already boarded the flight, so officers entered the plane to make the arrest. An 18-year-old is facing drug trafficking and exporting prohibited goods charges. Dozens of tenants at an Ottawa apartment building are being told they'll likely have to vacate their homes by the end of August because of mold and a pending court decision.
It did come as a shock to us because we got the impression that it was a relatively small issue that didn't require us to leave the building, vacate the building completely.
Many of those living at the Little Italy building are international students. The building is also rent controlled. It's been under court-ordered receivership since February after the owner ran into financial trouble. A buyer wants vacant possession by August 31st to remove the mold, which is a condition of the sale. In May, 57 units in the building were flagged as having mold. At the time, property management told residents that they were taking steps to fix the problem. In a statement, the property manager says it recognizes this is a time of uncertainty for tenants and is committed to supporting them throughout the process. A very merry Chicken Wing Day to you. Today is National Chicken Wing Day, as proclaimed by the city of Buffalo, New York, back in 1977. Obviously, it's a big day for people in Buffalo. Apparently, chicken wings first appeared in Buffalo in 1964. It's estimated the average person now eats about 290 of them every year. Nice for breakfast. Portage in Maine at 7:18. News, weather, and traffic we have throughout the morning.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
It's time for your entertainment news. We're getting another look at a Hollywood film shot here in Manitoba last summer.
I'm so sorry, Mom!
It matters, man.
You're right. Every moment matters, especially at the end.
The second trailer for The Long Walk has been released, based on a novel by Stephen King. It follows a group of teenage boys participating in a contest where they keep walking at 3 miles per hour to be killed. The last one walking wins. The movie was filmed at Birds Hill Provincial Park and several other locations around Manitoba. The Long Walk hits theaters on September 12th. The first for Rainbow Stage, it's the next show, has sold out a performance before the first one has even opened. The actors are putting together the finishing touches on Disney's Frozen. It's set to open on August 7th and has already sold out the Sunday matinee on August 10th. It's the first time that's ever happened at Rainbow Stage. The company says tickets for the other shows are selling fast. Disney's Frozen runs from August 7th through the 24th. This has to be one of the most clever PR moves ever. Remember the two colleagues at Astronomer caught out at the Coldplay concert in a, let's say, compromising moment? Well, this is who Astronomer has hired as a spokesperson to move the company forward from that headline.
Hi, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow. I've been hired on a very temporary basis to speak on behalf of the 300+ employees at Astronomer.
Of course, Gwyneth Paltrow is the ex-wife of Coldplay frontman Chris Martin. Their divorce introduced the world to the idea of conscious uncoupling. Astronomer's CEO and one of its human resources executives left the company after appearing on the Kiss Cam at the Coldplay concert in Boston. Now the company is using Paltrow to turn a viral controversy into a golden marketing opportunity. Okay, your primetime lineup kicks off with E-Talk at 7, followed by The Amazing Race Canada at 9. Then Battle of the Generations wraps up at 10, only on CTV. Terry, outside, let's talk about it. Smoky, not feeling so good, and you actually haven't been to the roof, really.
No, I went up there at about 6:10. I thought I would check in at about, this time into the 7 o'clock hour, but I don't need to step outside because we can show you what it looks like, and I can tell you that it really hasn't improved much. We're looking now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. We are down to 5 kilometers of visibility as far as how far you can see through that smoke. And then we're sitting at number 8 on that air quality scale, 11 being the max. So 8 is already into the high risk category. So you do want to limit your time outdoors. So this is why I'm indoors telling you to stay indoors today. Don't try to be cracking those windows to cool your space down. Although we're not dealing with hot temperatures today. It's pretty much what you would expect for this time of year. 13 degrees would be a seasonal low. We're starting out at 14 here in Winnipeg. Portage is there as well. Morton Winkler area coming in at 15 degrees, slightly cooler here in the southwest with 10 in Dauphin, even 7 degrees right now in Swan River. Northern Manitoba, it's going to be a little bit cooler yet. Like up in the Thompson area, I would love to show you that. I really, really would, but I just can't right now. Hang on. No, I can't. Okay, here we go. All right. 6 degrees. That's what we're talking about in Thompson right now. I told you it was a little bit cooler. See, I know things. I just can't show you things. Purple map tells you how smoky it is, but we looked outside and we saw how smoky that was. Not much to show you here on the satellite image, just a couple of clouds, maybe some showers to move through the southwest. That'll be for a little bit later on into the morning or midday. Temperatures as they rise through the day, low 20s by about midday. That'll be for southern Manitoba and some mid to high teens across northern Manitoba. We're probably going to get to about 24 degrees here in Winnipeg. That'll be our max temperature. 26 is actually normal for this time of year. So we're not going to get quite to those numbers for today or tomorrow. And then, of course, there's the heavier smoke that we've got hanging around. We'll surpass those numbers ever so slightly, hang around 27 degrees with sunny, dry conditions as we look toward the end of the week. Beautiful shot. That's sunrise. No, that was the sunset on Sunday night. And it did make for a stunning photo. Thanks to Brenda for this. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. The number of candidates running in the Alberta riding where Pierre Poilievre aims for victory in the next month's by-election has shattered records, with more than 200 people now in the race against him. CTV's Kathy Lee reports on what Elections Canada is doing to prevent a massive ballot.
209 confirmed candidates are on this ballot in the rural Alberta riding of Battle River Crowfoot.
It's very interesting. I don't think it's ever happened before, at least not to this extent.
Only 7 have political party affiliations, the rest listed as independents. Most are part of the advocacy group, the Longest Ballot Committee, protesting the first past the post system.
We're looking more at how to make candidacies fairer, how to make votes more representative of what people want, and maybe also having more voices heard.
The group also ran a campaign in Pierre Poilievre's former riding during the April general election when he lost, where the ballot had 91 candidates. The Conservative leader is looking to restore his position in the House of Commons, running in the Conservative Battle River Crowfoot riding, formerly held by Damien Couric before he stepped aside. Poilievre says the long list of names flooding the ballot is an abuse of democracy.
What it does is it prevents or makes it difficult for credible candidates to get attention.
Like this independent candidate, in an open letter saying the longest ballot strategy will crush any legitimate independents who run.
How are we confusing voters? Are you not going to the voting booth with a specific person in mind that you're going to vote?
To avoid a massive ballot, Elections Canada has created an adapted ballot where electors can write the name of the candidate they're voting for instead of marking a blank circle next to a list of names. The by-election is on August 18th. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
It's that time of year again, and CTV and Chicken Chef want to know, how are you soaking up the Manitoba sunshine? Whether you're roasting marshmallows under the stars or dancing at your favorite festival, we want to see the special moments that make your summer shine. Upload a photo of your summer fun for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize. You'll also be in the running for daily draws and tasty surprises from Chicken Chef. Plus, you could win one of 4 $250 gift cards from Wine Sense. So snap that perfect shot. Share it with us today. There's lots to do at the Transcona Museum, even for kids. Joseph Bernacki joins us now to explain.
Yes, thanks, Ainsley. Good morning, Winnipeg. I'm very pleased to be joined again by Jennifer Maxwell. A pleasure having you on our show again.
Thanks.
She'll be joining us in a few minutes' time as well. We got some fun activities for kids, as Ainsley mentioned. What's this Kids Quest that we've got in front of us? It sounds like a really fun scavenger hunt.
It's our community-based scavenger hunt. So the booklets have questions in the museum and outside the museum. We have a map so you can't get lost. And we have bonus questions, and basically you bring it back and you get entries into our grand prize draw.
And that grand prize draw is at the end of August? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And over on our left, really fun opportunity for kids to work on their artistic skills. Talk to us a little bit about Sketch Saturdays, what takes place on weekends here.
So Saturday afternoons from 1:30 to 3:30, you can drop in, and we have sketch supplies provided, and we bring out some artifacts from our collection. So you can sketch some of these artifacts, or you can explore our galleries and find other inspiration from our displays.
And the museum's had some pretty talented kids that have been able to sketch. Some of the stuff on the wall behind us is a part of this. That's right, Jennifer? Yeah.
Yes, so we invite our visitors to display their artwork if they wish. So we have some of the examples behind us, and we've gotten a decent response.
How's the summer been so far at the museum? How have things been?
Fantastic. We see families and children coming in every day and taking part in our program. So it's been really fun.
And I imagine it'd be pretty nice, the gallery we were in earlier on in the show, you guys get to rotate out different artifacts every year, so it's something new.
Yes, we always try and put something new on display every year. So typically in May, we'll have a brand new exhibit.
Cool. Well, we're going to be back at 7:42, showcasing some of the community walking tours you can do here in the neighborhood. Lots of different murals and so many different old buildings to check out in the neighborhood, of course. We'll be back in just about 10 minutes' time, so stay tuned on CTV Morning Live.
Thanks, Joseph. Terry, it might not be a good day for a walking tour, at least outside.
Not ideal, no, and it all has to do with that heavy smoke. Honestly, if it weren't for the smoke, we'd be looking at some spectacular conditions today. It's 14 degrees with winds on the lighter side out of the northeast, just 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 89%, but you can see how much you can see out there, down to 5 kilometers visibility due to the heavy smoke. We have warnings in place throughout the entire province. The exception is the most northern part, but most of us now under that heavy smoke warning. The air quality map showing us at an 8 right now. I put a face on and hair this morning, but you don't need to look at me because my clicker ain't working again. All right, so here we go. That little bit of precipitation might show up through parts of the southwest today. Not as likely. 24 degrees, partly sunny conditions, but that smoke will be an issue probably all day long. We're starting out with these winds out of the northeast. They're going to be shifting out of the northwest later today, and then still with those northwest winds overnight as we drop to 11 degrees. So for a reference point, you've got 26 26 as a normal high. We'll be just missing it today, and 13 a normal low. So getting down to 11 overnight. Tomorrow, mainly sunny, smoky once again. North winds at about 15 kilometers per hour. So as long as we're dealing with these north winds, we're probably not going to find much relief from the smoke. We will eventually see these temperatures on the rise again, and 27 degrees looks like how we'll finish off the week, move through the weekend, and even stay there for the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. If your commute includes the Louise Bridge, prepare to use alternate routes for a while longer. The bridge was closed to traffic in May for annual repairs and was supposed to reopen a few days at the end of this month. Now, the city is extending the shutdown of the 114-year-old bridge into early September.
Another month of less business, so it does impact us.
The city says that it was completing corrosion repairs, that they discovered 2 additional areas that required attention. Winnipeg has another century-plus-old bridge that's closed, the Arlington, but that one was shut down permanently in 2023 for structural issues after years of patch jobs. The city is confident that the same thing won't happen at Louise before a $40 million upgrade gets going in 2029.
Nothing that we've identified so far has indicated that there would need to be an extended closure until the rehabilitation can be completed.
We want to prevent the Louise Bridge from turning into an Arlington Street Bridge, and that's why we closed it to do the repair work necessary.
The bridge remains open for pedestrians and cyclists. The city says that drivers can take alternate routes like the Disraeli Bridge or Provencher Bridge. Drivers are also being encouraged to give themselves more travel time. Winnipeg police officers are asking for the public's help to find a missing 40-year-old man. Zhang was last seen on Saturday night at 6 p.m. in the city's South Point area. Zhang is a 5'8" with thin build and has black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing glasses, a black hat, a red shirt, and a black jacket. Officers say that they are concerned about his well-being. Anyone with information on Zhang's location is asked to call Winnipeg Police Missing Persons Unit at 204-986-6250 or Crime Stoppers. A 31-year-old woman is charged in the stabbing death of a woman in northern Manitoba. Thompson RCMP were called to a home last Thursday in the early morning. When they arrived, emergency medical services were treating an unresponsive female with a stab wound. The 34-year-old was declared dead at the scene. A 31-year-old woman is now charged with manslaughter. Mounties continue to investigate. There are 60 active wildfires in Saskatchewan right now, but the mayor of Beauval had some positive news for the community.
We're inviting people to come back home. Beauval has survived the fire. We're just happy we survived the fire.
This comes as members of the armed forces arrived in the Beauval area yesterday. There are 300 armed forces members helping out with the firefighting in northern Saskatchewan. As of Monday afternoon, there are still 11 active evacuations in Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan has issued 31 evacuations so far this year. The 5-year average is just 2. Cleanup has started in the Beijing area from heavy rain and flooding that killed at least 38 people. The hardest hit area northeast of Beijing saw almost a year's worth of rain fall in just a few days. Some 80,000 people have been forced out of their homes. China's president has ordered an all-out search and rescue effort to find people still missing. However, damaged roads and power outages are slowing down rescue efforts. Also this morning in Hong Kong, intense rain is causing flooding in parts of the city. At one point, Hong Kong raised its rain alert to black, its highest level. As rain flows down onto streets like a waterfall, people are being told to stay away from hillsides. Want to stay up past your bedtime? Tell it to the judge.
One request was just 1 day a year to be able to stay up late.
A community center in Florida held its kids' court over the weekend. Children get to make their case with help from real prosecutors in front of a judge, and parents have to mount their own defenses. It's a program designed to teach kids about the legal system and for families to try something new. Decisions, especially ones about ponies, are not legally binding. Blue Rodeo shone like a diamond mine late yesterday afternoon in Toronto. Hundreds of fans packed into the city's Distillery District to hear an acoustic performance from some of the band's members, including Jim Cuddy and Greg Keeler. The show was part of their 40th anniversary, which they'll also celebrate during a special 26-show tour starting this fall. As part of the tour, Blue Rodeo rolls into Winnipeg's Burton Cummings Theatre for shows on October 16th, 17th, and 20th. In between, they visit Brandon's Keystone Center on the 18th of October. Taking a look at the current traffic situation at Confusion Corner, no stalls or delays that we are aware of. Pardon me. Looking at your gas prices now, the Canadian average stands at $1.35, while the provincial average is lowered at $1.30. In Winnipeg, the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city, $1.19. All this info available to you at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car. CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
Here we go. 14 degrees outside. It's smoky. It's gross outside. Yeah, it's not exactly ideal. We've got a northeast wind. It's on the lighter side, though, just 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 89%. All right, the smoke, it's a bit of a buzzkill. Absolutely. We've got these smoke warnings in place throughout most of the province today. Northern Manitoba, that's the exception where the sky or the air quality might be just a little bit better. I was really excited. I gave this thing a little pep talk before we went on air. I was like, it's going to work. Of course it's going to work. Of course it's going to work, because for 15 years, it's worked. It's worked. This thing doesn't even work now. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, not much to show you here on the satellite image. Let's take a little tour around the province, shall we? Northern Manitoba, that's where the air quality is the best. Churchill, Gillam, lucky you. Some sunshine today. Mid to high teens, that's pretty much what you can expect across much of northern Manitoba. There will be a couple of places, like in the Gillam Island Lake area or maybe up in Lynn Lake, you might see a little bit of brief shower activity. Most places, though, it's just the smoke, and there's probably not going to be much relief from it. The very southwestern part of the province, and we might see some precipitation through there as well. And not just through the southwest, it might be kind of as far east as places like Portage, Morden, Winkler. Then we're into those smoky zones. Winnipeg can't expect much more than the heavy smoke. Air quality is sitting at an 8, which is high on the scale, so time outdoors not recommended, and doesn't look like there's going to be much relief from that. Smoky for today, probably tomorrow too, as these winds remain out of the north, and then from the low to mid 20s to the mid to high 20s, and that's where we'll stay with plenty of sunshine. Hopefully not smoke. We can keep our fingers crossed for some improvements.
Thank you, Terry. Joseph is outside checking out the murals in Transcona alongside the Transcona Museum.
Thanks, Ainsley. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful artwork out here. I've got Jennifer Maxwell again from the Transcona Museum. Jennifer, we got a lot of talented artists in Manitoba and here in Transcona.
Yes, and that is the focus of our Murals of Transcona walking tour. We look at 20-plus murals that have been painted over the last 30 years just in this downtown area here.
We have a little bit of everything. We've got some beautiful animals here. We've got an eagle and a bear we walk by. We even had a Rubik's Cube over to our left. Kind of a quirky mural, but I think it looks awesome. What can you tell us about that one over there?
So that was a part of the contemporary murals that were painted in the downtown here. Traditionally, a lot of the murals in the past were, historic themed. More recent murals are contemporary and open to interpretation.
And you said there, how many murals can people see on this tour?
On this tour, about 20 or so.
And these have all been done over the last 15, 20 years? 30 years, starting in the early 90s. But there's a huge boom in the past 10 years for murals in this downtown. You had a good description before we were live for this one on this wall over here. What does it remind you of? Kind of what are we looking at?
I don't remember if Spirographs art from my childhood.
Yeah. And of course, behind us, we've got a collection of, it looks like sea creatures and kind of waves. Pretty talented artist who painted this one. What stands out to you about this one as well?
This one features a flamingo because Transcona, flamingos make sense. And it's in a marsh scene with reeds and waves and bubbles and fish. So this is a fun one. because you stand closer, you see detail, you stand back, you see more detail.
Jennifer, you guys also have a historic walking tour in addition to being able to see all these murals. Talk to us a little bit about that tour as well.
So our historic downtown Transcona walking tour, we look at the early history and development of the downtown here and some of the buildings and other events that shaped our community. So we run our walking tours on Thursdays in the summer. The historic one is in the morning and the murals is in the afternoon.
What do you recommend people should bring on these tours? I imagine a good pair of shoes.
Good pair of shoes, sunglasses, a hat, water. We don't venture too far from the downtown, but it's always good to be prepared.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate having you on our show for the last few segments. So we're going to be back in the 8 o'clock hour from the Transcona Museum talking about some more arts and crafts, and we'll be heading to Rotary Heritage Park coming up soon, so stay tuned.
Thank you, Joseph. Dramatic video has emerged of a rescue off the coast of Labrador. Crews managed to reach the sailor who had been missing for days. Here's CTV's Jody Cook.
About a quarter mile away so that we could have good visual.
There's a clearer picture on just how precarious and challenging rescues at sea off of our coast can be.
So sailing boats offer a pretty unusual challenge for us to hoist to.
Footage uploaded to YouTube now sheds light on one such rescue, an experience shared on camera by Matt from 103 Search and Rescue Squadron in Gander. It takes the viewer to the scene of a sailor's rescue last week after he set out from Quebec on a solo journey to Greenland and then vanished from communications off the southeast coast of Labrador.
We had a good plan, taking into consideration that the biggest hazard was the mast of the sailboat that was moving a lot. So with that, we decided to stay away from the boat and actually have the patient jump in the water. So I got hoisted down as close as we could get me without being too close from the mast.
The roughly 20-foot sailboat had just a crew of one, its electronic systems failing, and rescue officials were dispatched when family hadn't heard from the man in days. A passing cargo ship was able to pinpoint the sailor. That's when 103 SAR Rescue Resources moved in, effecting a hoist in just minutes. Last Wednesday, the man was brought out of harm's way. But the Canadian Coast Guard also sent a message reminding mariners to think twice before venturing into open ocean and to ensure preparedness. Gander's 103 Search and Rescue Squadron is responsible for a massive jurisdiction. They cover all of the lower Arctic, all of the maritime provinces and Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as all offshore waters in the region. Jody Cook, CTV News.
Nikki Reyes in the SportsCenter newsroom with your must-see moment from Monday. And for it, we head to Baltimore. Blue Jays taking on the Orioles. Let's go top four. Nathan Lucas drives one to center. Cedric Mullins flying back, leaps in. He makes the catch. Lucas already with a home run in the game and came that close to a second, but Mullins climbs the ladder to claim the must-see moment. Tonight on TSN, we've got a pair of 2025 Leagues Cup games. CF Montreal taking on Mexican side Leon. Then the Tigres versus Houston. Coverage begins at 6 p.m. Central. That's all from the SportsCenter newsroom. Have a great day.
TSN Must See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years. Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
All right, when your clicker is stressing you out, you come outside for a smoke break. But then I'm not smoking out here. It's smoky out here. Anyway, so yes, this is what we're waking up to. Still with that heavy smoke lingering, visibility is poor, conditions not ideal. 14 degrees is where we're sitting right now. A bit of a breeze. It's out of the northeast. It's 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 89%. That northeast wind will likely shift out of the northwest later on today. I don't think that's going to provide us much relief. We're probably going to deal with these smoky conditions throughout the day, probably even overnight and still tomorrow until we're getting a shift in the winds, and it won't be anytime soon. Today and tomorrow, if it weren't for the smoke, we'd be enjoying fairly pleasant conditions. Mix of sun and cloud or mainly sunny for tomorrow. There will be a couple of places today who may see some brief passing precipitation. Parts of southwestern Manitoba and even parts of the north may see some scattered showers. Here in Winnipeg, it's likely to remain sunny and dry or smoky and dry, and then get a little bit warmer. The latter part of the weekend, throughout the weekend, temperatures will kick it up another couple degrees.
Thank you, Terry. It's an opportunity for people of all ages and backgrounds to get outside and observe nature through their own lens. It's the 5th annual Great Big Backyard Bio Blitz. Joining me now to explain further is Christine Chilton. Good morning, Christine.
Good morning.
Tell us all about this.
So the Backyard Bio Blitz is a way for people to get outside and connect with nature, and at that same time really help us create a big picture of what's happening to nature across Canada.
And this is of course done through the Nature Conservancy of Canada.
It is.
Tell us about how this all works and why you wanted to put it together.
Yeah, so we started it about 5 years ago during the pandemic as a way for people to connect with nature, and it was really a big hit. It really helped us out a lot, and we heard from people that they really appreciated sort of that little push to get out there and do something. So you upload an app called iNaturalist on your phone. So you register through backyardbioblitz.ca, and then you go into the app and you can upload photos or audio, so things like birds that maybe you can't quite see. And what that does is it creates a snapshot of where you are, and when it all comes together, it makes one big picture of biodiversity across Canada.
Wow, and what does that do for conservation, to really push that convo forward?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things that we can do in conservation is listen to communities, and people have so much knowledge about what's happening in their communities. So that's so diverse. It could be, you could be a rancher in your pasture, you could be a construction worker on the boulevard, you could be a kid going to like there's just so many things that could be happening, and you're seeing things every day. Right? Think of all the times that you've gone, oh, what is that? Right? This is an opportunity to answer those questions. And so when all of that comes together, whether it's, rare species or invasive species, it just creates the shot of what should we be looking at? What should we be thinking about when we're planning for the environment?
And over the past 5 years, what have some of the findings been?
So last year alone, we had almost 50,000 observations. The number one was monarch butterflies. So when you think about how far a monarch travels, right, what a neat story that is. A lot of plants, right? So, it's not just the big showy animals, but there's also, plants and exciting things, bugs, and, my favorite observation that I've made doing it was a northern leopard frog, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, we've had people see, they're out camping with their family and there's a moose, right? What does that look like? Yeah, it's
huge, apparently.
Yes, true, big.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And knowing that you're part of an even bigger conversation.
Correct.
I know it's called backyard, but do you have to have a backyard?
You don't have to have a backyard. So you're talking about museums today, right? So the Living Prairie Museum is a great place to go. We have incredible parks and green space throughout the province, great places to be. But again, it can be something as simple as being on your balcony and, what's flying by, what are you seeing? And so it's a way for everybody to connect. You don't have to have any special skills, right? Just use your phone, give it to the kids if you're, what to do with them when you're waiting for the bus. Here, go take some pictures of bugs that you see on the boulevard. And,
man, that was going to be my next question. How do we make this fun for the whole family? Make a scavenger hunt? I'm always full of ideas. Before we're out of time, what's the name of the technology, the app? Is it?
It's iNaturalist.
iNaturalist.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Yes. The bio. One more time.
Backyardbioblitz.ca.
I knew there was an alliteration there. Backyardbioblitz.ca. Oh, I'm going to have some coffee. Coming up at 8:06, Joseph Bernacki is live at Transcona Museum. Don't go anywhere. It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy 103rd birthday to Tony, with love from all of your family. Happy 60th birthday to Sandra from your Mexico travel group. Happy 20th birthday to Katie. Love from Matt, Mom, Dad, and everyone else. Happy 10th birthday to Quinn. Love from your mom, dad, pups, Theo, and Nina. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. Fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It will also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's celebrate. Brought to you by Party Stuff. 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca.
Good morning, Manitoba, and happy Tuesday. Joseph's been spending the morning at Transcona Museum. Lots to do there. And in about a half an hour's time, we're chatting with the Manitoba Museum about some Indigenous literacy that they have on an online tool. Also, theater for seniors. We are learning about some acting classes that seniors can take and how maybe you can get involved. First, here's a look at your headlines. Tow-away scheme exposed. Why did vehicles lifted from Transcona streets end up in the scrapyard? Tariff talks as critical deadline approaches, and the Prime Minister describes negotiations towards a deal as complex. And the collector may be gone, but his massive collection of canine figurines is still likely on the way to the record books. Terry, outside, we did see Joseph go outside. We did see you on the roof. How did it feel out there?
Not great. Really no improvement over where it was an hour ago when I said I probably wasn't going to go outside again, but then I got frustrated with my clicker and I thought, well, maybe I'll go and check. So no, I went to check. I can firsthand tell you there has been no improvement. 14 degrees, northeast winds, 10 kilometers per hour, the pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 89%. But now, folks, you are about to witness magic. I have no clicker in my hands. Brace yourself. Let's see how this works. Okay, so first I'm going to tell you about the smoke map. Pretty much across the province. The exception, that's the most northern part of the province. As far as what we can expect, though, aside from the smoke, very few clouds passing on by. We might see a little bit of precipitation here in the southwestern corner of the province, but overall, that little bit of precipitation might not help with the smoke. We'll watch it here on the Futurecast. So southwestern Manitoba may see a few scattered showers. There also may be some parts of northern Manitoba where a few scattered passing showers kind of move through later on into the afternoon. So we'll advance this and you'll see this kind of, I'm going to do the little bit twitch thing where you move your nose. And then my screen advances a little bit. Look at that. I told you, you are witnessing magic. Clearing out, though, for overnight and tomorrow, and we're not likely to see much more in the way of precipitation throughout the rest of this week, but we might not see improvement from the smoke for the next couple of days at least. The winds out of the northeast this morning will shift out of the northwest for later on today, remaining out of the north overnight and for tomorrow. So likely to remain on the smokier side, at least for the next couple of days. We can keep our fingers crossed for some improvements. We will see those temperatures warming up a little more later on this week. Avery, 10 years old, is spending her indoor time doing some art. So thank you for this. And I would invite anybody who's going to be avoiding the smoke today to draw, color, or paint and send your art to us to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. New details have emerged regarding a rash of vehicle thefts in Winnipeg using tow trucks. It's a story you saw first here on CTV News. And now we've obtained court documents which reveal who authorities believe is behind the thefts and how the scheme allegedly worked.
The roof was on the floor. It looked like someone had dropped a steel beam right down the middle of it.
Court documents are now revealing who is alleged to be behind the theft of Teak Sawa's van and 8 others, all stolen by tow truck between July 2nd and 14th. The statement of claim filed by the Director of Criminal Property Forfeiture alleges that Corey Vinkarik, who is the owner of Winnipeg Auto Recycling, and some employees stole vehicles, damaged them, and then sold them for scrap, bringing in $40,000. Now, his assets, including 2 tow trucks, bank accounts, and real estate, are being seized. A person answering the phone at Winnipeg Auto Recycling declined an interview and would not give their name.
The frustration, why did this happen, and the sadness because it was an awesome van. It was our van, and I didn't think that anyone else would want it.
Winnipeg police said on Wednesday that 2 people have been arrested in the case. With the U.S. tariff deadline a few days away, Prime Minister Mark Carney says that talks have hit an intense phase.
The United States and Canada can do many good things together. We have done that in the past. We can do more in the future, but on fair terms for our country.
The U.S. is set to hit Canada with 35% tariff on non-CUSMA compliant goods on Friday. Prime Minister Carney called the talks complex and repeated his goal to sign only the right deal for Canadians. He also said Canada's deal with the U.S. won't necessarily look like the one signed by the other countries. As talks continue, former Prime Minister Stephen Harper says that Ottawa recently reached out to him for some advice. Canada is adding $30 million in humanitarian funding in Gaza, while also pushing for a two-state solution at the UN.
We are here today because this moment demands political courage and resolve. And we must stand together and choose a different path, one that leads toward a sustainable and a just solution.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand also announcing $10 million to help the Palestinian Authority reform itself for eventual statehood. This comes as a number of Liberal MPs make calls to the Prime Minister to recognize a Palestinian state from members of his own party. Canada hasn't joined France in announcing plans to recognize a Palestinian state. Instead, they're saying the Palestinian Authority must undertake the comprehensive reforms necessary to govern Gaza and the West Bank. A Spanish collector has earned a posthumous place in the Guinness World Records for a massive collection of dog figurines. He started his collection in the 1960s. It includes 5,025 figurines, soft toys, dog head, walking sticks, and more. His kids did the application for him after his death last year, hoping that they could get him that honor as a tribute to his life. Meanwhile, one of his siblings, an actual dog owner, lets their white terrier play with some of the collection. Apparently, the collector was a fan of fake dogs, but not the real ones. Taking a look at the current traffic situation along Donald Street, it looks like a smooth drive. If you have any traffic tips or updates, send them to us. CTV Morning WPG.
There we go.
Joseph Bernanke joins us once again from Transcona Museum. What are you up to now, Joseph?
Thanks, Ainsley. Well, we're here to talk about some really fun arts and crafts for the kids. Very pleased to be joined by the Transcona Museum Education Coordinator over the summer, McKenna LaPointe-Joyce. It's a pleasure to have you on our show, McKenna.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I understand each week you've worked hard to prepare different activities for the kids based on a different theme. Tell us a little bit about the Craft With Us summer program.
Yeah, so we just launched 2 weeks out of the 4 in August. So the first week starts up next week, and it is Flashback. So we have trolls and the kaleidoscopes that bring back nostalgia to the parents as well as the kids.
And the kaleidoscope really works. We tried it out before this segment.
Yeah.
If we work our way a little bit left, what do we got with the camera picture and what you're holding in your hand?
This is the animation wheel, and this is for Technology Week. We have a rotary phone, a Polaroid camera, and the animation wheel that really works. And then...
Yeah, you've got some cool historic flags of Transcona, a little bit of artwork. Tell us about each.
Yeah, so we have the pennants, so I made 2. There's the 2747 as well as Transcona 61. So then the children will be able to create whatever they like, adding flamingos, trains, anything they love about Transcona.
And of course, we've got the flamingo in front of me here. Over on our left, before we were live, McKenna placed some slime on the table. It has since taken over this part of the table. It's pretty cool. Talk to us a little bit what's happening in front of me here.
Yeah, so we have the marionette flamingo, and it really works. So you can use the 2 popsicle sticks to move the head and the body as well as the feet.
And of course the slime?
Yes. So that one will be for Ocean Week, which has the hanging jellyfish as well as the slime. So that'll be the final week to wrap up Craft With Us for the summer season.
These are running Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, of course, here at the Transcona Museum. We're going to be back at 8:38, checking out Rotary Heritage Park, learning more about 2747, and of course you can see on the pennant here. We'll be back in just about half an hour's time, so stay tuned for more coverage from the Transcona Museum.
Thank you, Joseph. There's some good news when it comes to auto thefts in this country, and with a new report suggesting a sharp decrease in the number of stolen cars and trucks. But the authors are warning owners not to let their guard down. CTV's John Vedavalli-Rao tells us why.
Despite the improving numbers, on average nationwide, a vehicle is stolen every 10 minutes.
It's all a big shock, to be honest. I kind of feel violated.
Ryan Tostick of Milton, Ontario, is filling out insurance forms after his beloved 2004 Chevy Silverado was swiped from a repair shop just over a week ago. The thief was caught on surveillance cameras. Tostick says his truck had a new engine and says he'd never had anything stolen from him in his life.
Just, crazy to see what kind of value just is gone within minutes.
But compared to the same period in 2024, in the first half of this year, auto thefts were down 19% nationally, plunging almost 26% in Ontario, while Western and Atlantic Canada saw 9% declines.
I do caution that even though the numbers are still going down, they're still high, and it doesn't mean that we need to take our foot off the gas.
The report says better public awareness and collaborative efforts by governments and law enforcement agencies appear to be making a difference, noting during the pandemic auto thefts rose when the supply chain for new cars was disrupted, peaking in the first half of 2023 at 34,000 and declining ever since. Still, experts note there's been a shift towards stolen vehicles being sent to chop shops.
What's old is new again. Chop shops are having a surgence where they're stealing vehicles and selling it part by part, not only domestically but internationally.
According to the report, more stolen vehicles are being found. 56% were recovered in the first half of this year versus 53% last year.
Personally, I'd like to have the vehicle back. I'm not hopeful, but I'm trying to be hopeful.
And if you're wondering if insurance rates might come down because of fewer thefts, the Insurance Bureau of Canada says thefts still remain above historical levels, adding repair and vehicle replacement costs have also been on the rise. John Vanavelli-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
All right, still smoky outside this morning. You can see that as we look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Yes, we've got the smoke. We're sitting at a number 8 on the air quality map and visibility down to just 5 kilometers per hour. So not recommended to be spending long periods of time outdoors. Let's talk about temperatures. They're already starting to rise, 16 degrees right now in Winnipeg and in the Morden Winkler area. We've got some 15 showing up in Pinawa, Gimli, Portage, 14 Sprague and Kenora. Southwestern Manitoba has been just a degree or two cooler, 12, 13 degrees, closer to seasonal, in fact, 13 being that normal low for this time of year. Across northern Manitoba, Thompson, you're warming up. You were at 6, now at 8. You'll continue to make some gains, but the heavy smoke, it's being felt right up into northern Manitoba, and we've got most of the province now under this heavy smoke warning. If you're not under the warning, it's the yellow, slightly downgraded version. That's an advisory, so still hazy, just not quite the thick smoke that we're noticing out there this morning, and probably will for the next couple of days. I don't think we're going to see much relief. On the cloudier side, we're partly cloudy conditions, just kind of passing on through. Still some sunshine to bust out, but that too is obstructed by the heavy smoke. Let's take a look and see how temperatures rise throughout the day today. So starting out by about midday, you're going to see that these temperatures will be moving up nicely, and if it weren't for the smoke, it would be a pleasant day, hitting by midday low 20s here in the south and mid to high teens into the afternoon, climbing another few degrees, topping out at about 24, 26 being normal for this time of year. So today and tomorrow, we're just shy of those seasonal values. Like I said, the conditions pleasant, but the smoke not so much. And then those temperatures climbing up another couple degrees as we look toward the latter part of the week. We're taking a break right now, but stick around. We're back with more on CTV Morning Live.
Good morning, it's 8:15. Now to a group of Ukrainian newcomers taking to the water in one of Newfoundland's oldest traditions, testing their rowing skills in the Royal St. John's Regatta this week. CTV's Garrett Barry on the competition and the conditions he needed to go ahead.
5 times a week for many weeks now, this group of Ukrainian newcomers are trying their hands at something distinctly St. John's, fixed-seat rowing on Kitty Vitty Lake.
It's easy to watch, but when you start rowing, it's a little bit hard. Yeah.
They're set to compete in one of the oldest sporting traditions in North America, the 207th edition of the Royal St. John's Regatta.
It's really hard for now. We live in a new country. We start with trying to integrate in this country, and we want to be involved in this tradition.
it doesn't matter too much if it's cold or if it's wet. The wind is the biggest factor in determining whether Wednesday's races go ahead.
Every day we do this because every day we check what the flag we have. Green, red, yellow. Okay, we can count.
It's no different than practice. You can only row when the conditions are favorable. And not only are the races weather dependent, so too is the entire Regatta Day holiday, which will draw thousands down to the lake.
2 years ago, I saw the regatta, and I really want that Ukrainians team will be in the regatta. And we decided it's really great idea for communication, for integration in this community.
They'll compete in the new Everybody Welcome Open Crew division. It's the first time the regatta has had mixed teams, not segregated by gender.
Well, there was one time in time trials where they kind of lost their oars, and to get it back, they all started to chant together, and it was really fun to listen to. I'd never encountered that before in another crew.
Coach Megan Willett isn't setting any time goals, just a good, proud performance, and maybe an interest in returning next year. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
The Winnipeg Public Library's Maker in Residence program is back this summer, and it's bringing creative collaboration to library branches across the city. From fashion to illustration, this year's resident artist is all about mixing media and sparking community connections through art. Joining us this morning is Callan Mond to talk about the Drop-In Studios, upcoming workshops, and more. Good morning, Callan.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
So tell us about this selection process. How does it all work?
Yeah, what do you mean by selection process?
So what, it's just you doing this? Or is there a number? That's amazing.
Yeah, the program's been running since 2022, so I'm the 6th maker, which is pretty awesome. It's a fantastic program, so I'm stoked to be a part of it. And I get to be there until October 11th.
So with the mixed media, you do lots, whether it be fashion or other modes of art.
Yeah.
Tell us about what people can expect.
Sure, yeah. So far we've been doing a Japanese braiding technique called kumihimo and friendship bracelets. So that's for the drop-in. And then alongside that, there's also 5 formal workshops people can sign up for. Everything's for free. All the supplies are provided by the library. It's really fantastic. So we've done 1 bracelet making workshop, and next we're going to be heading into drawing. So there's a drawing workshop, and then a botanical shadow painting workshop, and then for the drop-ins we've got drawing coming up, and then some weaving, and then some hand sewing near the end of the program.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. And what's cool is you're going to multiple libraries as well.
Totally.
So what are the benefits of being able to hit different parts of our community?
Oh, I think it's just great. Yeah, we're mostly stationed at the Millennium Library, so right close by. It's fantastic. Drop-in Tuesdays through Thursdays, and then the workshops tour around the city, so that's really cool. We get to go and visit other communities and get more people out to the program, and actually it's bringing other people downtown as well, just hearing about the Millennium Drop-ins, and other people are wanting to come explore other facets of the program, so that's really cool.
A lot of kids, I would assume.
It's all ages, which is really, really cool. So I'd say predominantly adults, but kids as well. Yeah, all ages. There's one kid-specific workshop that will be happening in September, a woven wall hanging workshop.
I love that.
Yeah.
And what are you hoping that people take out of this with the different modes of putting it together?
Sure, yeah. For me, I love to see, the community and collaboration building. The community is definitely growing, and that's really awesome to see each other, like the people talking to each other and helping each other, and just forming relationships while they're creating art. That's really beautiful. I love that.
For you personally, it must feel good to be able to express yourself in all of the ways that you perform art, because really there's so many.
Totally, yeah. I think this is a really cool way for me to get to be able to take what I love and bring it to people, and we get to dabble in all these different mediums, so that's really, really fun.
Before we're out of time, is there anything you want people to know, or even how they can access this?
For sure, yeah. I would say check out the Winnipeg Library calendar that has all the events on it, and make sure you sign up for workshops. Right when it says registration opens, they fill up quickly.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Callan, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, what a great thing to do, especially on days like today when you're looking for something indoors to keep you busy. 16 degrees. We've got winds out of the north-northeast. They're just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 77%. That wind, it's light. It's just the direction, starting out of the northeast, ending up out of the northwest today. So really no improvements, just drawing all of this smoke in. And as a result, we're finding ourselves under that heavy smoke warning right up into parts of northern Manitoba, the exception being right along that most northern border. The conditions is really just smoke out there. I know we glanced through the camera view and it looks hazy and gray, but there's really not much in the way of clouds, not at this time. A few more through the southwest where there might be a little bit of shower activity, but for the most part here in Winnipeg and most of the province, things will be on the drier side. Partly sunny, but yes, very smoky. 24 degrees. That wind shifting out of the northwest will stay out of the northwest overnight, so the smoke will likely stick around as we drop down to 11 degrees. For tomorrow, not much improvement. We're still dealing with these north winds. We'll have a little more sunshine perhaps after the clouds clear out, but it's still likely to be a very smoky day, and 24 degrees. 26 just for a reference point. That's normal for this time of year. So the next couple of days, just shy of it and then surpassing it, not by much. 27 degrees with sunny, dry conditions as we finish off the week, kick off the weekend, and still clinging to that 27 as we're looking ahead to next week. That sunset Sunday night was absolutely stunning. That's when Brenda snapped this gorgeous photo of the golden boy looking so gorgeous. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Well, today is Tuesday, but if you're still stuck in a Monday mindset, you're not alone. Lots of people find it hard to get motivated at the beginning of the work week. CNN's Mandy Gaither has a few tips to help boost your energy and focus.
Goodbye, weekend. Hello, work week. It's time to get back to the grind. But if this day has you feeling blue, you're not alone. A 2020 study suggests job satisfaction dips and workplace stress rises at the beginning of the week compared to the end.
Here's an idea. Give yourself a few things to look forward to during the week. Things that might make you happier and feel more fulfilled.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says if you're longing for the weekend, booking activities during the week can help ease the Monday blues. That could include playing a sport, doing trivia, or joining a book club.
If the activity includes other people, you're going to be more likely to follow through and make it a habit.
Gupta says to also consider challenging yourself to try something new, like learning a language.
Adding commitments to your week may be hard at first, but additional goal-focused activity can actually give you more energy.
Finally, Gupta says to help yourself get through the work week by adding positive interactions throughout the day.
Doesn't have to be much. Maybe just paying someone a compliment. These chats can cause small bursts of positive emotions, something I think we can all use.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
The Manitoba Museum has just launched a brand new way to engage with Indigenous language and culture right from your phone or computer. Anishinaabe Moen with Amik is a beautifully illustrated free online language game designed to support the revitalization of the Ojibwe language. Our next guest is head of Indigenous programming and engagement at the museum. Welcome to Sheena Hulangawish. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So how does the game work?
So our game is based on our website. There's no app that you have to download. You can just go straight to our website. And there are a few learning games. Some of them are matching, there's a memory game, and it's all centered on 21 animals that can be found in our museum galleries. So you can learn the different Ojibwe words or Anishinaabe words for them.
Wow, so how did you put it all together? Well, sounds like a big endeavor.
Yeah, so we had a whole team of, well, I guess 4 of us that put this together. So we had had our Indigenous Protocols Advisor, Carol Bolio, help us with the translations for the animals. And she also did the audio recording so you could hear her saying the words. And then we also had an amazing artist, Michaela Gilbert, do the illustrations for them. And they're so, so beautiful. And yeah, it's just been a long time coming, and we're just really excited to see it out there.
Well, this is kind of I'll ask this as a double-pronged question, because you mentioned the collaboration efforts. You had elders and knowledge keepers helping as well. Why was that so important?
I think just like having Indigenous voices centered on Indigenous initiatives is really important. And yeah.
And just having support too, because it is, like I said, that is a big undertaking.
It is, yeah, for sure. Especially having support of my community in such a big role has always been really important to me.
Who is this for?
So it can be for anyone of any age, but especially for youth, children and youth. I think it'll especially benefit the 90,000 students who visit us annually, so teachers can incorporate it into their pre-visit programming, and of course families at home can play it, and yeah.
How do you access it is a question as well, because there's going to be people watching who want to access it as well.
Yeah, so they can just go straight to our website at manitobamuseum.ca, and they could either search up the game or it'll be in the drop-down menu on the website.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this conversation. I really hope that people take advantage of this. And before we're out of time, is there anything else that you want people to know?
Just that it's super important to learn an Indigenous language, to support the preservation of Indigenous languages, and of course the revitalization, and yeah.
Will you teach me a word?
Sure.
I'm putting you on the spot now. That's not fair.
Okay, my favorite animal from the game is the word for coyote, which is Wisagisimoons.
One more time.
Wisagisimoons.
Now I'm going to embarrass myself. Wisagisimoons. Wisagisimoons.
Yeah. Good job.
I'm going to have to practice that with you later. Thank you so much. There'll be a link on our website as well.
Wisagisimoons. Oh, see? I didn't mean to show you up, Ainsley. I couldn't resist it. 16 degrees, and look at that smoke outside. Gosh, it just makes me shudder looking at it. Winds, they're out of the north-northeast, just 4 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 77%. Not an ideal day to be spending outdoors, really, for as limited time as it might take you to, move from the car through a parking lot into either your workplace or the grocery store or wherever you need to get. But I wouldn't recommend leisurely walks outside, or hopefully you're not having to work outside in these conditions, because they really are less than ideal. The heavy smoke warnings are in place throughout most of the province today. The only exception is up in the north. We do have those advisories off to the east, but everybody needs to take some necessary precautions when the smoke is this heavy and thick. Not much to show you here on the satellite image. We may later today see some scattered showers moving through the southwest, but overall it would be a beautiful sunny day if it weren't for that heavy smoke. Taking a look at the futurecast, and you'll see how things are moving through the southwest. Yes, you might see a little bit of precipitation moving through. And then for later on today, northern Manitoba might see some scattered precipitation passing through. And then all of these clouds clear on out overnight. And then from there, pretty clear conditions. But when I say clear, I'm talking only about the clouds, because the smoke will probably linger overnight and through tomorrow. And tomorrow, very similar with the temperatures. Today and tomorrow will be just shy of seasonal. 24 degrees is probably where we'll be topping out, but those winds out of the north, they're still going to be out of the north overnight and through tomorrow, so we'll likely still have that smoke lingering. We can hope for some improvements with a shift in the winds later this week. We will likely see these temperatures climbing up another degree, and dry, sunny conditions expected through the rest of the week, through the weekend, and even right into the start of next week too.
Thanks, Terry. Fire crews are still working to contain wildfires near some northern Manitoba communities. A late-night update on Monday from the town of Leaf Rapids says that sprinklers are guarding key sites like the fish plant, the communications tower, and the Churchill River Lodge. A roving fire engine is still putting out hot spots along Pump House Road, Utic Bay, and Crescent areas. The update further states that they had 26 heavy helicopter bucketing operations in the area of Combs Tower. Fire 113 was burning on both sides of Provincial Road 391. Other than hotspots, no more fire activity was detected in town. Manitoba Hydro was also attempting to restore more power. An update from the city of Thompson says that Manitoba Wildfire Service teams are working on the north flank of fire closest to Thompson. The tree and brush clearing is happening along with Burntwood River. Crews will work on the southern flank of a few days when work on the north side wraps up. Meantime, Canada Post says people from Island Lake, Leaf Rapids and Snow Lake can pick up their mail in Winnipeg at the post office on Graham Avenue. Mail for Flynn Lake residents is available at the office in Brandon on Douglas Street. And those from Puckatawagan can find their mail at the post office in the Paw on Fisher Avenue. Also, Canada Post is extending its free mail forwarding service to residents of Island Lake and Snow Lake. You have until August 28th to register. Premier Wab Kinew called a by-election on Friday, which will test whether his NDP government's popularity can spread to a longtime PC stronghold. Voters in the Spruce Woods constituency will go to the polls on August 26th. The Tories normally secure well above 60% of the vote in the area, but the New Democrats have been riding high in opinion polls and have made a series of spending announcements in and around Spruce Woods recently. The outcome won't affect the NDP majority in the legislature, but the party has 34 of the 57 seats to the Tories' 20. A religious monument has been reinstalled in Assiniboine Park after an 8-year hiatus. And debate over the past year, the largest stone engraved with the 10 Commandments is back on display.
I think that's right. It wouldn't be as welcoming, no.
Well, I think if it's part of the history of the park, why not?
It's not offending anybody, then put it up.
When the Leaf was being constructed in 2017, the park put the monument in storage and last year asked the city to find a new home for it, saying at the time the Conservancy felt it could make the park feel less welcoming for some members in the community. On Monday, a park spokesperson confirmed that the monument had been reinstalled close to its original location. Winnipeg Mayor Scott Gillingham says that he's pleased with how it all turned out.
Basically, as a council, we directed our administration, our CEO, to work with the Assiniboine Park Conservancy and community members. They have done that, so they followed the process that council set out for them. So I'm pleased with that.
The monument was gifted to the city by the Fraternal Order of Eagles in 1965. Their names are Nibs and Lollipop, and they're very talented. Here's ABC's Danny New.
This is Nibs. And this is Lollipop. Besides being extremely talented and cute, what else do they have in common? They both are members of the Ultimates.
Do you think anyone on the planet wakes up happier than you?
I don't think so, man. Look, my coworkers are amazing.
Melissa Millett here and her Ultimates, as she calls them, travel around Ontario, Canada every weekend to perform tricks they've mastered together. A trainer of 25 years, Melissa now has 9 dogs and 5 cats, with many of them making their way over to Hollywood.
I've got to fly back to London. I need you to take care of my cat.
I like cats.
I like dogs.
For example, later this month, her cat, Tonic, will be appearing in the movie Caught Stealing, starring the man you may remember as Elvis, Austin Butler.
He just petting your cat?
He did. Yeah, he was a phenomenal cat trainer.
Meanwhile, Lollipop and her best friend Sashimi have the Guinness World Record for the fastest 5-meter dog-cat scooter ride. As I found out, balance is actually just Lollipop's thing.
Hi, Lollipop.
That's what she does nonstop.
But here's one thing that might surprise you even more. Lollipop is actually deaf, as is the first dog you met, Nibs. However, here is why Melissa says that is not the biggest obstacle when training your dog.
The truth is that dogs don't speak English and they have a harder time responding to verbal cues. Hand signals are easier.
Actually, not only are 4 of the Ultimates deaf, but in fact, almost all of them are rescue animals. Like her dog Pepsi, who starred as Crypto the Super Dog in the show Titans. Pepsi was found abandoned in a snowy woodpile at 5 months old, and championing rescue animals like him has become a mission for Melissa.
In my position, it's really important it showcases the wonderful animals that you can find.
As a cat dad, I did ask Melissa how she can possibly train cats, and then I tried her lesson on my cat Pepper. Basically, it's all about rewarding your cat for following a treat. I tried it with my finger. The only problem, she did not want the reward. No pets for Pepper. She said, "No touchy, Dad." For next time, we try it again. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Back along the Provence Bridge, it looks like a smooth drive. Any tips or updates, let us know. CTV Morning, WPG. Taking a look at your gas prices now, the Canadian average stands at $1.35, while the provincial average is lower at $1.30, and in Winnipeg the average is $1.29. The lowest price in the city, $1.19. All this info available at gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
From the CN 2747 in Transcona is Joseph Bernacki, and it looks like you're in front of the train, Joseph. You're not on it.
We are. Well, we're just beside it, Ainsley. It's a little tight squeeze, but pretty cool history we're going to get a chance to show. Very pleased to be joined by Alana Horeta. She is the curator, of course, of the Transcona Museum. Pleasure to have you on our show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
You guys are going to be celebrating a really cool anniversary for the train that's just to our left. Tell us a little bit of the history of the locomotive.
Well, the CN 2747 was the first steam locomotive built by CN in the Western region in 1926, and it was built right here in Transcona. So it was the first of 33 locomotives built at the Transcona shops, and then it went out and it did its working life and it was retired. It was brought here to this park as a symbol of sort of the founding of Transcona and the significance of the railway in the community.
And you mentioned before we were live, the museum's taken care of this for 10 years now. Talk to us a little bit about the restoration work that needed to go in, you know, the roof over our heads, the gates, the beautiful panels that you guys have put in with a little bit more of the history. What can you tell for us?
Well, when we acquired the engine, we didn't know what shape it was in, so we had a condition assessment completed, and in that assessment, he said if you don't do anything within 10 years, it's going to be scrapped. So 10 years in, and now we've got a shelter over it. That's pretty good, but we did welding repairs for missing metal. We blast cleaned and repainted. We've replaced all the wooden elements. Our crew is still coming out and working on the engine. Currently, they are painting in the cab. They replaced all the walls and the ceiling last year. Our seats are going to be installed. So there's still a lot of work we got to do. I don't think the work will ever end, but we're really happy with how it looks.
And Scott's getting a chance to show a lot of it for our show this morning. Talk to us about the 100th anniversary. Imagine next year that'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, so next year it's turning 100, so we are planning a birthday party for it. We're still in the planning stages, but we want everyone to sort of keep their eye open or maybe follow us on social media or subscribe to our newsletter so you can learn a little bit more about when that's actually going to happen in June of next year.
And Alana, when can the public come and see this steam engine? When they'd like to. Yeah.
The structure is open. We have it staffed most Tuesdays and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 11:30, and that's just dependent on weather. So if it's storming, we're not out here. But yeah, Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate having you on our show this morning, Alana. And again, if you're coming to the Transcona Museum, definitely stop by 2747. It's just over here off Plessis. They have their own separate parking lot too, which is really nice to be able to park in Rotary Heritage Park, walk around, and have a great time in Transcona.
Thank you, Joseph. Terry, outside, I usually do a walk as well, and I don't know if I'm going to today. I'm still contemplating it.
Okay, well, if you figure out the bus route, let me know, because that's my struggle today. Is I don't think I want to walk in these conditions. They've just changed up the bus routes. I used to know what number I needed to take, and now I have no idea. So I'm going to be out there either waiting for a few extra buses, in which case I might as well walk home if I'm going to spend that much time outdoors. Anyway, the problem with being outdoors for too long today is the heavy smoke. It has nothing to do with the temperatures. They're actually quite pleasant. We're sitting at 16 degrees here in Winnipeg. Similar temperatures all through the south, well, all through the south, in fact. Mid-teens, low to mid-teens, exactly what you would expect this time of year, and we've already started to make a couple of degree gains over the course of the morning. Even Thompson is making some gains. You're now sitting at 8 o'clock. It was cooler earlier this morning, but you two are warming up, and most other places are already in the double digits. But most places are all dealing with the heavy smoke through most of the province. These air quality warnings have been issued, or the slightly downgraded advisory in areas off to the east of us. Not much showing up here on the satellite image. We might see a little bit of precipitation for later on today. I mentioned the temperatures are actually very pleasant. So starting out in the mid-teens. We'll watch as they rise throughout the day today. By about midday, we're likely to be sitting in the low 20s here in the south, or mid to high teens through the north, and then into the afternoon hitting around 24 degrees. 26 is in fact normal for this time of year, so we're just missing that number by a couple of degrees, but we can't even go outside and enjoy what would otherwise be a beautiful day because of that heavy smoke, which will likely linger overnight and through tomorrow. No shift in the winds just yet, and then it even continues to warm up another couple as we look toward the end of the week. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
It's 8:45. Most online shopping orders get shipped to our homes without any problems. But if you do buy something that's been tampered with, it can be difficult to try and get your money back. CTV's Pat Foran shares the story of a photographer who ordered a camera lens but ended up with a box of staples.
I was completely shocked. I didn't know what to do.
Victoria Schell of Maple says her hobby is photography, and she recently wanted to upgrade to a more advanced camera lens. She found one online at Canon Canada's website. The lens was part of a damaged box sale and was selling for just over $2,500. When the shipment arrived, she was shocked when she opened it up.
The box was supposed to contain a Canon EF 2470 millimeter lens, and instead there was a box of Bostitch staples.
Schell contacted Canon to say what happened and sent them photos of what she received.
The lens was inspected in the facility, so by the time it left the facility, everything was intact.
Schell says while the outside box was sealed, the box for the camera lens had been opened.
There is no safety seal.
The box of staples was the same weight as what the camera lens would be. Following an investigation, Schell was told she would not be getting a refund.
I'm completely heartbroken. I'm really upset.
2 years ago, we did a similar story with the Madkin family of Brampton. They ordered a laptop and received 2 books instead.
Did you need this book? I don't need that. Did you need 2 of them? No, I don't need either. So someone have opened the box and they put the books with the same weight. Looks like a MacBook.
With CTV's help, the family got a refund. CTV News also reached out to Canon Canada, and a spokesperson said the package did match the weight that would be expected for the lens model purchased. However, it appears the package may have been tampered with after departing our facility. We are currently in the process of issuing a refund to the customer for the cost of the lens. That was great news for Schell. She has now received her refund and plans to buy a new lens in person at a camera store.
Thank you so much, CTV News. Thank you so much, Pat Foran. Thank you guys for taking my case. I truly appreciate it. You guys are amazing.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
From fixing computers and writing screenplays to owning a needle and art shop and teaching seniors how to act, Barbara Best has worn many creative hats. Her latest project, a new acting for seniors class through Brian Lind Theatre School, part of a growing series designed to challenge assumptions while bringing joy to older adults. She joins me now. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning.
Seniors acting class. Tell us all about it.
Well, for one thing, seniors are great to work with because at that age, you've lost your inhibitions. You know, as we age, we start to care a little less about what people think about us. So seniors are up for anything as far as acting is concerned. They're not worried about how they look to other people or anything like that. So it makes it a lot of fun.
So what's come out of this in terms of the experiences or even anecdotally?
Well, this class is brand new, but working with seniors in acting, not specifically in this class in the past, it's, for one thing, cognitively, it's really good for you to always keep, trying new things. So it's a sense of play is important, and sometimes you lose that as you go through life and you're working and you have families and whatever, and then you forget to bring that back into your life. So it's always silly and fun and a bit ridiculous, and that's great. It's physical, so that's a good thing. It gets people up on their feet and moving around, and it helps to boost confidence. And also, sometimes seniors can be a bit isolated. So the nice thing about it is that there's a sense of community to it. So yeah, it's always a fun time.
And it really reduces a lot of those stereotypes, those ageist stereotypes with seniors, that you're too old for something. Whereas with acting, there is a character for everybody of any age.
Yeah, and seniors come with a whole lifetime full of stories, right? So this gives them an opportunity to share them in a fun way. And it's always really interesting because, you never know what what life people have lived just looking at them until you meet them. So it's great because you hear all sorts of stories and learn about things that people have experienced, which is wonderful. So
we have many wonderful seniors who watch our show. If they're interested in taking part, how can they do so?
They can just go on our website, which is brainlandtheatreschool.ca, or give us a call, which is 204-219-3979, and book the classes. We'll have dates coming up in September. I don't think they're up on the website yet, but we'll have dates in September for the next class, and yeah, it's always a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's not the only thing you teach, though. You've taught embroidery, technology as well with the iPhone computer stuff.
Yeah, that's a very popular class, the iPad and iPhone class, because a lot of seniors get an iPad so that they can stay in touch with their families. Maybe their kids buy them one or whatever, but they don't really love it. So it's hard to get really into something that you're not super interested in. So then they feel sort of at sea with it. So I just teach the basics so that people can feel a little more confident with it. And that also is a really fun class.
Have I missed anything? Anything else you want people to know before we're out of time?
No, I also teach embroidery. I have a shop called Lizzie B's on St. Anne's Road, and we do classes for embroidery as well.
Awesome. Acting for seniors, such a delight. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Terry, what's it like outside?
No better. Honestly, look at that smoke. It's so heavy and thick this morning that I've been spending most of the morning indoors, and I love my rooftop hits, but I'm not even sure if I'm going to be walking home today in this. It's not exactly ideal to be spending long periods of time outdoors. 16 degrees, nothing wrong with those temps, and the winds are light out of the north-northeast. The pressure rising, humidity sitting at 77%. Air quality is sitting at a number 8 on the scale, which is in the high-risk category, and we have heavy smoke warnings throughout most of the province today. If it's not the smoke warning, it's the smoke advisory or statement. Not a whole lot better, maybe more hazy than the straight up smoke that we've been seeing. And as far as the conditions go today, we're really not going to be seeing, what's the pink up there? Director Kim says, oh, that's an excessive heat warning. And that's like, yeah, right? I mean, we've been having such bizarre weather across the entire country. So excessive heat up in the territories, and then just the smoke for us, and then the smoke advisory. So that's what we're seeing on our warnings map right now. On our satellite map, there's really not much to show you here. Maybe a little bit of precipitation that'll be showing up through parts of the southwest. Today and tomorrow, pretty much more of the same, because we're not going to get that shift in the winds. We're probably not going to notice an improvement in the air quality. So we've got the smoky conditions probably today and still tomorrow as well. 24 degrees both days, dropping down to seasonal temperatures. 26 degrees, by the way, that would be a normal daytime high. So you can see we're right in the zone of that, either just below or just above. It will get a little bit warmer through the latter part of the week, and plenty of sunshine and dry conditions as we ride out the week into the weekend. Taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center.
Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Okay, for your Tuesday morning, a slip and slide, but with sand. This one is in Australia, and it's a sea lion. It's spending its afternoon sliding down this sandy dune on Kangaroo Island without a care in the world.
I'm curious now who's filming this, and if that's just like what they see when they look out their window. Right? It's like, oh, honey, come over here.
That's like people in Australia saying, oh, you guys in your igloos. If you've ever wondered what saying "hurts so good" means, here's a great example. Watch his cat give his canine friend a bite on the back. You'd think a dog would run away, but nope. He comes back for more. See you later.